PWG is more or less, I hate to say done, because you never say never, but I don't say never doing it again. You know?
Yeah. But you know what you can watch? You can watch Epic Pro Wrestling out of Baldwin Park, August 29th. Andrew, he is the promoter, the progenitor, the man behind Epic Pro in LA. Why don't you tell people about that show, man?
It's gonna be a great show. We got Bad Dude Tito facing Alpha Zoe. We got Royce Isaacs defending the Epic Pro Championship. We got Tony Deppen making his Epic Pro debut. It's gonna be sick. Tickets available at bettereachday4.eventbrite.com and at the door. $30 for adults. GA tickets all over. So first come, first serve. You want front row seat, or want to pull up a front row seat, whatever, as long as you're not blocking any aisles. Kids' tickets are $20 at the door only. So, yeah, bell time 7 p.m. Doors open at 6:20. We'll probably have a prelim match or two. So it's gonna be a sick show. Tons of free parking and air conditioning too.
Yeah.
Air conditioning in SoCal, especially in Baldwin Park. That's where I grew up, man, and it gets hot out there. So I gotta duck into that show to get some AC because my wife doesn't let me turn it on. So, absolutely go watch that show. Go to Epic Pro in Baldwin Park. Go hit up on Eventbrite. You could hit Andrew up on X. He's Epic Pro LA, right? That's Epic Pro LA on
Epic Pro LA on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube.
What's up? This is Dr. Laird, aka Vanilla Connection Puti, aka Magnum Sutrio, aka Ultimo Dragon Fruit, aka Ultimo Dragon Fruit Jim, aka Dragon Fruit Kid, aka the Mochi Man, aka Choco Ball. And I'm back. This is State of Wrestling. You're going to hear a lot of things on this show. Particularly, you're going to hear a couple of things from some people. We're going to start off with our regular episode of State of Wrestling. It's me, Larry, the Shemp to my Larry, BJ Bethel, and the Curly to all of it to close it out. Arturo, as we talk about the ins and outs and the businesses of pro wrestling. We talk about the ESPN deal. We talk about the Paramount merger and other things like little tidbits using here and there, the WrestleMania ticket sales, the All-In ticket sales. It's all covered there. But I'm also have a couple of other things on here. I have a conversation with us and Gutzdozer as we go over the G1, talk about the finals and like what to expect from the new talent that we're about to see on the rise, particularly because Gutzdozer is the man you should look up to look up who is Shun Skywalker and just what is the Shun Skywalker experience. Guts is great for that, but we also talk about the G1, the tournament itself, the G1 finals and all the debate and discussion on that. But we also talk about Rey de Parejas because, we love Dragongate here. It's the Rey de Parejas Tag Team Tournament. And we talk about our picks, predictions, and who we're excited about in this tournament. Finally, rounding out the show, I talk with Naveth and Rambones about the G1 tournament itself as a whole, where we see the company going, our excitement over this, and everything else. This is State of Wrestling. Enjoy all of this. And here we go. But there's a lot of stuff that I want to catch up on because I've missed you guys, you two specifically. One of the things we talked about, of course, is the AJ Styles being a stage dad. Trying to. No other wrestler has their dads look over bookings and take them before before taking a show than Avery Styles. His dad is a stage dad.
Have
And
you
you know,
met
if
Shota? Wait, have you met Shota Umino?
oh yeah, we've all heard those
Or
Gatekeep
or,
promos.
or Atlantis Jr.?
Yeah,
I know.
I mean,
Those guys set up the ring now.
yeah, you know, we talk about Big Show. You know, Big Show started off in WCW not having to do shit. He started off winning the world title, first match in. The world champion does not shut shit up. So it's not the same for everyone.
Well, he's
Paul
over.
White.
Doc, he's over 7 feet tall. You can't teach that.
Well, yeah, I know. But you're about to ask something, DJ.
Now, so okay, we got this shit show going on with this. A very experienced and well thought of indie wrestler took on the comment saying, "Hey, why is the kid not setting the stuff up? You got to earn your dues. You got. I mean, this is kind of a tradition too. With a Paul White, when he's 25, he's coming in or positioning him against Hogan right off the bat. That's a completely different situation. Especially you got a guy whose knees are on borrowed time since birth, right?
Yeah.
And I just was wondering, maybe you know this and I don't. Is Steve Borden helping? He's been training for the last 6 months. He was just part of the Darby Allin angle this week.
Well, I've seen him do like he did one of like the art shows, and there's like pictures of him helping set up chairs. Like, but he for the most part he's been doing his developmental on like dark matches and an ROH.
So let me get this
matches.
straight. Let me get this straight. The son of Sting, a former Division I football player, he's setting up ring stuff. He's setting up chairs. He's helping out. The son of Avery, AJ Styles. I'm going to say something. I think AJ Styles is an amazing wrestler. I think he's one of the most influential wrestlers in history. But he ain't no fucking Sting.
Well, yeah, because Sting's other son. Because Sting's other son, he also worked. He works Dustin's promotion, right? And then he also. So yeah, he's training under Dustin. So both of Sting's sons are actually wrestling right now, and I don't know. I know Cody said something, but I don't think Dustin said the same thing or backed up Cody on this.
What?
Because you look at how Dustin came up, and the difference between how Dustin came up, where he like worked those NWA shows, was a job guy for a while, and then his first big thing was $1 Million Man program. Okay, like. The first thing he did in wrestling was a feud with $1 Million Man. And
I mean,
I think. Let me put it this way to you, BJ. Do you think Brian Pillman was setting up the ring?
Oh yeah, he absolutely was.
In Calgary
and Stampede. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. He was. You're right. He was an Owen Hart guy. He was a Dungeon guy. So yeah, he probably was. You're right.
I mean, if Avery was like on debuted straight to AEW or NXT, I would say that. Or on WWE, then I say that's a different situation. I mean, White debuted straight to WCW, but my thing is just the tribalistic. I mean, let's just say this: the shits on the WWE fans and the AJ Styles fans on this because it's just like, okay, just why can't he help out? It's like this is a hard job. There's people been doing it for years. There's nothing he's done in his career to this point other than who his dad is. And Dustin Rhodes, yeah, he debuted in the $1 Million Man program, but before that, Dusty was on the road, so he was wrestling around Texas. His mom was helping him out because his dad didn't want him wrestling.
Yeah, he was doing the small outlaw shows. He
If
was
Dusty
also like
wanted
doing
him,
the studio shows.
Yeah, if Dusty wanted him wrestling, he would have debuted in Crockett while he was Booker. He was helping out, driving him and Magnum T to the ring at the big Great American Bash shows when they had the stadiums. You had to have golf carts to get to the ring. He was driving him with that. I mean, he was he looked like a superstar then in the thing, but
I'm kind of like, and I've defended the other side because effectively, like, you're not contracted to do this, right? So you don't have to do this, right? And it is something that, like, if I'm there and I'm in the same spot, I probably do it because, like, I'm just the guy who does that kind of thing. And but I can also see the point, like, if you're, which is what AJ said, which is, hey, you brought him in because you wanted to, like, you're trying to draw money with him, right? So I think it's kind of different. Like if GCW is bringing him in to draw money with him, which is essentially they're not booking him on the undercard, which I think is kind of like AJ.
Yeah,
I want to be gentle about this, but AJ is not necessarily the smartest tool in the shed. And I think what the point he was trying to get across is like, you're trying to book money with my kid, right? So you're booking him for his name. You're bringing him in not to just be like, he's not coming in to just be like a job guy, right?
he's not jerking the curtain straight out of a wrestling
dark
school.
match. So he's coming in. So it's a little bit of a different expectation, I think. I think if you're coming in, and
is he how's he? So what's his training background been? What's his? I mean, I honestly haven't
at home.
So that's been it.
AJ's been training him. He's been at the PC, like kind of that kind of thing. I think. No, I think also if you look at,
I think he's got like some. I'm looking up his trainers because I know he had like a little bit more.
Was he in Nightmare Factory too?
I don't know if
because he's in Georgia too. Because they're all
that would make sense.
Yeah, if that would explain why Cody's jumping in.
Because like I think because if Cody's speaking up for him, it makes sense that that's his guy. But also like AJ Styles, he came up through NWA Wildside, WCW, TNA, and people were bringing him into their shows to help draw. So not necessarily AJ Styles was in that position where he wasn't brought into shows to draw, because he was brought into shows to draw.
Well, I mean,
he was on TV from TNA.
Here's the thing. I
also a different thing.
By the way, I pointed this out with AJ. It's like, how often was AJ in a position where he wasn't fucking drawing money, or he was like in a position where he would fucking like have to come in and set up the ring?
I mean, he was a big deal on the indies almost immediately.
Even in WCW wasn't having people set up the ring at like when he was in WCW.
No, he wasn't setting up the ring in WCW. He wasn't setting up the ring in TNA. In PWG, he wasn't the guy setting up the ring because he's the guy they brought into main event in PWG.
I'll tell you this right now. When I remember covering the Pillman Memorial shows, I'll tell you this. I remember main roster people for WWE just helping out and helping with the ring work with the HWA guys. There was HWA guys who were signed developmental talents who wrestled that show who were also helping out with the ring.
I mean, again,
because when I see
like if you're flying in as kind of an attraction, then it's a slightly different view from this is my everyday promotion, or I'm like working underneath to like as a trading. It's like. So do we think like do we think Kevin Durant got hazed when he came into the Sonics or something way back when? Right?
No.
So
and I just want to say the usual rite of passage stuff I usually fucking hate. This just was I thought was a bit different discussion. The reason my issue with this thing is I think AJ should have probably just kept his mouth shut and let his son deal with it. I just think I don't think he did his kid any favors on this.
I'm being kind to AJ because I don't think he expressed himself well, because I think I understood what he meant, but he didn't express it well.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is I think you make the point so much better than him or Cody did.
Verbally, like what I say all the time, verbally you hear the intent about what people mean. When they type it out like that, it comes off more callous.
Yes.
But I'm sure like from AJ's experience, the hazing and all that stuff, because we hear all about like the bullying that Paul White went through when he went to WWE.
Hogan made his life miserable just for being there. And
that story about Hulk Hogan and Macho Man telling him to carry the world title around with him to the airport.
Yeah, it was
because you're the man.
And ironically, it was Sting who went up to him and told him, "Look, man, you look like an idiot. Take that off. Don't listen to these guys." I mean, White even says that in his story. And you got to remember, he got bullied in WWE too. I mean, Undertaker and a lot of those guys, they knew that they didn't want him taking his spot because he was more athletic and he was bigger. And
it is kind of funny they did the same thing to Jericho, but Jericho was a lot smarter about that shit. And I mean, also the fact that
he was also had the experience. I mean, he'd already done through all this.
It is kind of funny that like the stories about like Jericho getting in fights, notably, is him and Goldberg and him and Brock, and both times Jericho comes out ahead. So Jericho's the kind of guy that like isn't worried about a fucking fight backstage.
Yeah, the only one that dusted him was, of course, Sin Cara. That's the only guy.
Which again, this is the old joke you say, like eventually like CM Punk is gonna pick a fight with one of these lucha guys who looks like nothing, who probably has like a 10-year amateur background and is gonna kill his ass.
Yeah, it turns out it turns out he's an Oscar De La Hoya's like camp or something, and he's just gonna wreck him.
He's gonna talk shit to La Parca and then end up with a broken jaw.
I think that's what's gonna happen. Oh, that could happen. I mean, I think that Jack Perry just happens to be a nice kid, and he doesn't have any shoot pick, right? I think that's one reason he wanted to pick on him. We know about Punk picking people for certain things. Well, I mean, like, I think somebody's expressed that on here, but not on here. But one of you guys.
And off air, we've talked about it off air. I think the thing with I think what's funny about that video with Jack
Perry
is like basically Perry basically once Punk goes for it, Perry basically blocks him, and it was about to like fuck up his ass, even like with the mount. Until then again, like then Malachi Black walks in, and it's like Malachi Black is like when a giant dog walks in. You're like, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
It is funny. He just
they instantly separate when Joe and Mal make their way towards them.
Yeah.
Like Joe just puts hands on him like fuck.
Yeah, they were messing with that. And I tell you what, if he would have grabbed,
these are the real ones.
Now would have grabbed you. I mean, Hope was standing right there too.
By the way, this is why I'm worried that like Malachi Black will always have a job with AEW when he wants, because I think
he left amicably, man.
Yeah, but
he left amicably.
I mean, Tony's also loyal to people who like cover it, and like I mean, if you look at it, like Malachi comes off as he's a weirdo, but he comes off well on that because it looks like he's just calmly like helping shit get done, right? Which you like those guys.
I think like. So this is like just like the add-on to the end of like our plural discussion there, because like I really like that this week we got the results for the Las Vegas WrestleMania shows. We were right. You were right. Numbers. You called it. 50 distributed 50,000 and 48,000 for both nights. For night 1, 48,000. Night 2, 51,000, which is a drop from like 12,000 from the year before.
You want to do mini business here?
Sure.
So as I said, I think some of the stuff that we talked about has actually come to pass. We talked about the fact that like the Paramount or WB deal was much more shaky than people gave it credit for. People call me crazy. Oh no, it's going to happen. I'm like, look at all the lawsuits. Look at the fact that like there's a counting ticker where like WB is getting a bigger and bigger paycheck if this blows up. Look at how WB is putting out articles.
We're almost in September, man.
Well, no, they put articles out on Variety saying, "Oh, we're fine. We're totally fine if this happens." And it doesn't happen. And like how it really does look like it's going to blow up. And also, I think the other thing that we talked about like the fact that like the new CEO of Disney is very much a guy who is I don't know if I've said this specifically, but he's a parts guy. So he's a kind of he was a guy who's running all the parts. Diamaro was, and the parts guys are very much about like cash flow, right? They believe in how do I get the most money out of this asset. So I do think that they're very much treating this like a ride at a park, right? And the way they would like a guy who's coming from the parks, thinking, I got this ride, and it's expensive, and is it making me money? And how can I get this Guardians of the Galaxy ride that I just spent in millions of dollars at Epcot? How do I get this to make me money and make this park valuable? And I think very much what they're doing with the WWE is saying, okay, we've got this, right? So let's push the fuck out of this and see if we can actually make money on this, because if not, we need to get the fuck out of this contract. And that was actually like within the stockholder conversations when he gave his first State of the Union address to the stockholders. He very much talked about how like, oh, we're not going to sell ESPN yet. We're going to try to see if I can get this asset in a better place. We're going to look at the contracts, right? Because our biggest shortfall is the contracts, and the contract is the biggest shortfall probably right now. That's like the one that's like really not generating any real money is the WWE contract, because like,
which is why you're now seeing WWE wrestlers all over.
They're not gonna bitch about a college football contract, because college football contract is making a shit ton of money. They're not gonna bitch about the NFL or the NBA. But that WWE contract is one that really, again, the problem is it doesn't really make them enough money to justify that. And they bought it in the short term. I mean, Iger, I kind of defended that, where like Iger was really looking for something to help him settle the carriage fee deal with cable. Right. Yeah. And it ended up that WWE wasn't that, but then they got all the local MLB, and that basically solved their fucking problem, because they ended up.
I will tell you this: that deal with WWE between ESPN was not done at the ESPN level. That was done at the Iger level, and a lot of it had to do with just big wigs making things good between big wigs.
Flashy, and Nick Khan and Ari were able to sell the this is assumption on my part, but I'm assuming they were able to sell the rise in subscribers with Peacock. I mean, there was some success with Peacock in terms of that. I don't know that necessarily was WWE, but there was some success with that, and they were able to sell that enough in terms of like the audience and the hot product to convince ESPN to bite as a, because again, I still think they got canceled on Peacock, and I think they got canceled ahead of a possible Comcast WB merger, right? Because I think that was still the plan. I think it's still probably the plan in some people.
Yeah, I mean, it likely could happen if it splits.
Yeah, because I think that's what they wanted to do. But like going back to this, I think effectively they wanted something that was nice and shiny that they could sell to the cable companies to justify higher carriage fees when they were negotiating that last year. Again, they had a plan. It's like they went into battle. They had a plan. The plan didn't work, but they got it started. It's like the divine wind that sunk the Spanish Armada. Like they had a plan. The plan was shit, but like there's like a windfall came out of nowhere and like destroyed the Spanish Armada, and like they still won. So they won because of the MLB stuff, but it ended up not making the W. Like I think essentially that MLB thing made it so that Disney didn't sell ESPN, really, in my opinion, right? I think there was rumors that they were trying to get rid of it. I think when they got the MLB stuff, that ended up like they didn't do that. They got the higher carriage fees. The carriage fees, again, it's a park guy. He's going to look at the carriage fees for ESPN and go like, well, that's generating us a shit ton of money. But he's going to start looking at that and going like, okay, so like it's generating a shit ton of money. Why do I have 5 guys doing like the studio show for ESPN for football? Like, why the fuck do I need 5 guys and paying them millions of dollars? Like, and like they're going to try.
We don't need 5 guys. We need more hours of Pat McAfee.
Yeah, and so like essentially what they do is they push ESPN, they push WWE across all platforms, even though I forget the article that's talking about how like I think you referred it to it like the actual.
It was an awful announcing article, and basically they just hate
WWE because it's not the thing that they like. It's like trying.
It's about ESPN or WWE. You talking about ESPN or awful announcing?
Alpha announcing saying that like, hey, sports fans don't really like this shit.
Oh, they absolutely hate it. I mean,
like, in a diminishing audience where you have something like it's the thing I like argue about with products. And I think we've had this conversation before. If you have an IP, you have to like you're not owed fans, right? If people want to see shit about sports and they want to talk about real sports, they don't want you to give them like you don't I don't want wrestling on this, right? It's like and to use an example that wrestling fans who listen to this might understand. Remember where Dave would just push all the MMA shit into the Observer?
Yeah.
I did not want that, right? And I understand why Dave did that kind of, but I was like, could I get a version where I don't have to deal with the MMA stuff? I don't care.
Yeah.
It's not for me. It's not, I don't care about this stuff. Don't mix it up because it's not something that is, when they do these studies about you like this and like that, liking football and liking people talking about football does not mean you'll want to listen to a podcast. You want to listen to like Pat McAfee talking to Seth Rollins about his legacy, right? And again, I think that's kind of where we are on this. And I keep saying that ESPN is going to exit out of this contract at the first opportunity they have.
So okay, I'm gonna stop you real quick because I got some stuff on this.
Okay.
And I haven't had an article written on it. So the story I've been hearing for a while, up until the last couple of weeks, was that when the Fox deal happened with WWE back in the late 2010s, I was hearing almost immediately once that thing started running that there was problems, that they were not renewing it. I was hearing about problems in the run up, and that's kind of was the issue things I heard with ESPN and WWE. And I was hearing from the beginning that this was not going to be renewed no matter what happens, or there was no way people could see this being enough or getting what they wanted out of it to be renewed. Over the last couple weeks, now keep in mind, this is after Josh DeMaio, he replaced Bob Iger in March. After this is now hitting about the 6-month mark in. This is when the new boss comes in, watches things for a while. He's doing moves. They have all these layoffs. They have this. I'm starting to hear for the first time thoughts that they could possibly file a lawsuit to try to get out of this. or try to make some kind of side deal and push it off. And that blows my mind, because this is just talk. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but the fact that there's just talk about this just tells you how bad this has gone. And I don't think it's just I don't think it's a WWE problem with this. I think this is an ESPN issue, because they thought this could be placed the carriage fleas, like you were talking. But I can say this for a fact: there is talk going around of them them suing their way out of this, or them possibly doing that. Now, I don't know if that's going to actually happen. I kind of doubt it. But I will say that the fact that they're even considering it tells you this isn't going the way either side wanted it to.
I'm going to drop some intelligence here, right? And I don't think people understand this, how things went down. I've kind of explained it, but effectively, I believe that Comcast and Peacock canceled WWE, right? And they got out of that deal by effectively doing the divesting, where they divested Versant, which is the company that now currently has the WWE, because they didn't believe that it was something that was worthwhile. So they got out of that business, right? And they did that by doing the split and like moving the company off. And I believe that Disney might have thought, or one of the plans they might have had, is that they went into this, they got the higher carriage fees, and they were the higher carriage fees, and they were basically trying to make the ESPN. They have been doing this for a while. This has been made the rounds for years, which is they've been trying to see if they sell off ESPN. I think they were trying to make this. Part of this deal was also to make ESPN more attractive for sale.
Yes,
but they never thought they were going to have to pay the piper, if that makes sense, right? They made the deal. They did it for the carriage fees. But they had no intention. I mean, Disney, the sea level room.
This was the Dakota paint on the house in order to get the price up.
They had no intention of picking up the bill, because they thought they were going to pass this on to whoever bought ESPN, right? Which is kind of what like Comcast did with the SmackDown deal, which is they passed it on to the person who bought Versant, right? Or Vince, or they spun this off to Versant. So I do think that like Disney did not intend to that. And I think this is again I use the park logic, right? When they do a major investment for that kind of thing, they put it in and they see like I don't know if you've ever seen a video on how like they used to do the pavilions at Epcot, right?
Yeah.
Where they have a pavilion and they have a sponsor, which basically justifies the bill, or they have a sponsor which basically justifies the cost of putting that in. But they have an expectation of that pavilion, or like drawing a certain amount of crowds, because they essentially assign like a part of the revenue. They say, hey, this pavilion is drawing this part of the revenue for the park. So if Epcot, again, I mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy, they put this is the top tier ride for the park. How much attention is it drawing? How much lines does it have? How many customers are coming in? What is the demand? Because that is reflected in the tickets, and then we assign a bit of the revenue to that. The investment we made is justified by the revenue we are drawing at the gate, right? And they have to do some assumptions for that, but this is what they do. And essentially, I think what they're doing here is also they're going, okay, this is why it's worrying that ESPN has never released any WWE numbers for ratings or for pay-per-views or anything, right? So my expectation is that they have numbers internally to tell them this contract is drawing this much money, and they look at it and go like, fuck, we are burning money on this, because not only is it not drawing money on us, it probably may be driving some customers away, because people don't want to hear about this wrestling shit, right? So if I'm watching Pat McAfee for having him talk about sports, I don't want to see fucking John Cena there, right? And again, it is not even a loss leader, because it's not really drawing me money. So it doesn't surprise me that they're looking for what you're saying. It's like what I've been saying from the beginning. I believe that ESPN and Disney will look for any possible way to get out of this fucking contract, right? And
I think you're correct. Yeah,
and it does feel that way, definitely, because they put a concerted effort. I think they're going to actually put money in the bank on ESPN proper.
Here's the thing. I think that the ESPN has done a really good job at trying to push this product, right?
BJ, you said that there was like more WWE coverage on ESPN than there was coverage for.
Yeah, that awful announcing had that. They had more. If you go to the big shows in the morning, which are like Get Up, Pat McAfee, some of the other stuff, that they had more WWE talking coverage than they did for NHL or MLB.
Insane.
That's kind of a typical ESPN thing to do, where if we have the contract for that sport, whether if you watch when ESPN has a contract for a specific sport, whether it's NASCAR, NHL, MLB, a big contract, they will push those sports like crazy on their own shows. When they lose those contracts, and all of a sudden your afternoon NASCAR show's gone, your afternoon your evening MLB highlight show's gone, the other stuff's gone. And so this is kind of typical, but at the same time, this is wrestling. They've never done anything like this before. And it's pissing people off because it's like this is wrestling fans and sports fans are very much different audiences. And
but let me ask you a question, right?
Sure.
You would agree that NBC and Comcast have probably some of the outside of like HBO and like Turner networks, I would say that NBC probably has the longest experience at presenting wrestling to a broad national audience, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, they've been doing it for. I mean, they had a relationship with WWE. They've had it for 40 some years now. Yeah.
Right. Do they treat it as a sports product or an entertainment product?
It's entertainment.
Where do they put it in their profile?
Entertainment.
Where do they show it? NBC and USA, or they used to show
on
ESPN. So why is WWE on ESPN?
It's a great question. The thing is because they wanted an unlimited app to replace the carriage fees that they had. I also think if you're looking at a sale of ESPN, this is something nice to dress it up. But I think the original plan was to use this as if you look at every single mention of this when the deal came down between WWE and ESPN, they kept saying this will be available soon because your providers, which are like Sling, YouTube TV, are going to be the app will be available to you through this. They weren't telling anybody they were going to have to buy the $39.99 a month app, as part of any of this. It was sooner or later, which for YouTube, it just happened now after a year and a half. You can get WWE app through them, but they've had to make a lot of concessions, and this has not worked at all. And that's why they did this. Yeah.
I honestly think like if I was effectively, I don't know if it's a thing with a contract where like, it might be a thing where like Ari and Nick want to present to the sports, but I mean, if I was them, I'd be pushing it on like Freeform and ESPN and ABC. And honestly, because here's the thing, you're not drawing your money's coming through the pay-per-view to the app, which is fine. You can, and here's the thing, you put the product on ABC, you publicize the product on ABC, and then you say, hey, where can I see the pay-per-view? Oh, you have to go to the ESPN Unlimited app. You're getting out of the ESPN world.
Yeah.
And then you're taking,
or you can just move it to Disney or Hulu,
Well, no, I mean, like you essentially want to get it to like the broadest audience possible. So like I would put the promotion stuff on ABC. And here's the thing, it's going to be cheaper than network content. So put it on spaces that you have open, put it there and use that to promote ESPN Unlimited. That actually gets you out of, because you're promoting it to, you're putting it on ESPN and promoting it to a closed audience, which has no interest in this because it's not their specialty. Whereas you'd rather put it on somewhere else, right? And be like something like when they put the SEC football on, like, oh, ESPN on ABC, or like that kind of brand.
I think what you're talking about right now, I think would be more likely to happen than them trying to sue their way out of it. I think that would be a really hard thing for them to do.
The problem,
but it depends a lot but I don't know if there's floors on the metrics on this stuff.
I think here's the problem. If that thought was something that was running through the room at ESPN or ABC, I think the WWE shows being disasters and sucking has actually made this like they can't put that shit on ABC, right? This is the other problem. The other part of this problem is like the shows that
because then if you're running ABC, why in the hell would you want their busted product they haven't been able to make money with?
Right. Like, I mean, like maybe you put Danhausen on like some sort of spooky special. Get him on like.
I mean,
what hasn't Danhausen been on Jimmy Kimmel at this point?
It's amazing, man. That one thing I read, I don't think it was a blurb. I'm not sure if it was in the Observer or if it was on Fightful, but the blurb was, "We need more Danhausen on everything." And they just released Danhausen Toronto Maple Leafs merchandise,
I gotta say, I gotta hand it to Danhausen. He is living his best life right now.
Well, I mean, like, here's the thing. He's actually like the perfect. I've said this. I've always said this before we did this, that he was the perfect comedy mid-card gimmick. Like, WWE is a comedy promotion.
Yes.
And they've always had comedy gimmicks to get the fuck over with the kids and everyone. And Danhausen's perfect for that.
Hey, man. They had one of my favorite guest hosts of Raw was Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah,
and we have the modern day Pee Wee.
Right, but effectively, here's the thing: you should be.
I feel gross saying that, by the way. Well, I mean, I don't feel that he's the new Pee Wee.
You should be pushing. You should be pushing this stuff. I mean, shit. You should have had the Grande Americano stuff happen on, like, you put it on like Saturday at 7:00 or something.
Yeah.
On ABC, like, as a replay. But effectively, I think again, because they
should have Grande Americano on Telemundo if they wanted.
If Telemundo's NBC. You can't do that. And I know this because I have it locally on my. I have NBC. And
after seeing the World Cup numbers, Spanish language in the U.S., which were equally the same as the English numbers, there's no way in hell I wouldn't have AAA and Grande Americano on something on U.S. broadcast.
Do they have what is this? There was in that broadcast in Spanish. I don't think they have a Spanish network in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, there is the ESPN Deportes. I mean, I would put it on ESPN Deportes.
Yeah, I because like the Fox Deportes does not have like an English. They don't do Fox Deportes in America. The Fox Deportes that has the AAA show, so there would be no. I mean, he should have been on that. That would have made a complete sense for him to be on Fox Deportes doing something. Yeah. But
I mean, I think ultimately the problem is, like, this is a bad fit, and
that's the biggest thing, right? What you just said here, this was a bad fit from the beginning, and now they're trying to put
it's a bad fit, and the product is shit right now.
Yeah,
and it doesn't look like it's getting. Because I said this on the Tish and Sarah Discord. I said, effectively, the problem is that the TKO is not a company that is focused on building IP. It is focused on extracting the maximum value for IP. So their problem, it's like a restaurant. It's the argument of, like, here's a restaurant. I bought this restaurant. I'm a hedge fund. I bought it. I'm going to maximize how much money I get out of it. So the food's going to go to shit. I'm going to get the cheapest suppliers. I'm going to get rid of the highly paid workers that, like, deliver good service.
Yeah.
I don't need that chef. And so essentially the quality is going to go to shit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was basically putting this out there. Like, somebody was like, oh, so they released Ilya Dragunov, right?
Yeah.
Who's 32, and, like, I'm assuming the rumors are that, like, they offered him a pay cut. He said, "Fuck no." And it makes sense because within, like, minutes of its contract expiring, like Kyle Fletcher, MJF, and Ciampa were all, like, throwing out there. Because here's the thing, like,
and Kenny Omega.
Yeah, Ilya had legendary matches with Kyle as he was coming up. He had great matches
in WXW.
Like, he's a guy. He's a guy who's, at worst, is a guy who can take Rocky Romero's spot. Rocky doesn't need to be fucking working on television. Like, Ilya can take a spot. Ilya can work with, like, Mark Davis. They can call themselves like the Russian Open or something. And again, because they've worked together before, and, like, he can just take that spot. And you can imagine the trios with, like, Mark Davis.
He's a Don Callis family level guy.
Imagine the trios with like Hechicero, Ilya and Mark Davis, right? Like, or like as I said, like, my preference for him is he comes in after Darby wins the TNT, does an open challenge, and Ilya comes out, and we get Darby and Ilya in for 25 minutes on Dynamite, right?
That's fine. That's like, about. They can afford it.
But the point being is that, like, WWE doesn't recognize that they need to have guys like him who can go out and make people like Trick Williams or, like, Oba look.
Oh yeah, see, that was something that's something that a lot of modern wrestling people do not understand, is the value of having solid, awesome dudes in the hands.
Mechanics, yeah.
I was stunned because when TNA was coming up, I knew some people down there, and not people in the ownership thing, but people that were getting jobs down there. And I'm like, well, here, I know these guys at Heartland. I know guys here. Why aren't you bringing them in? Like, if you want to have an X Division Crash show, these are guys you can put in there. They can do that. Plus, they can wrestle a psychology. They can tell a story through it. So at worst, if you want, they will enhance all the dudes that you're trying to make into stars. And it was just, they just thought that was the dumbest thing they'd ever heard of. And and then remembered the XWF was the Jimmy Hart promotion. That was coming up. They were much more of that line of thinking of like, okay, we need guys who can make everybody else look good at the lace, and a couple of them will become stars, right? That's the thinking, and that's just WWE has there's just no thinking of that, and I think it just gets to what you're talking about was like TKO has a total private equity, standard down the line MBA mindset for how to make money, which is strip shit down and sell it. And I think that at some point there's going to be a lot of amazing business papers written on the difference between TKO and how they're running with WWE and the fan satisfaction and AEW and fan satisfaction, because AEW's ran like a business where you have to keep your customers. They make a product that's geared at your customers.
They're not. I don't think TKO is in this for the long term. That is not what they're doing here, right?
They're shorting. They're going to short this,
which is which is bigger the problem.
Right, because somebody was saying like, and again, like you can just look at like how solid you create. Like again, what is the plan down the line? Because you're not paying people, and you're relying on people wanting to work for you because of the name on the door, but if you keep treating people like shit, eventually people just are not going to care, right?
Yeah.
Because you start moving down the path in terms of what people want to do and people want to say. And again, I think it's been a real kind of interesting, kind of like seeing how this has played out, right?
This has been a crazy business story especially when you combine this with what's going on with Paramount, Warner, administration, and with the effects of what's happening with the sovereign funds. Like, this is a very interesting piece of business history we're living through right now.
Well, I mean, I think it's, as I said, I think there's going to be a lot of change. Like I saw somebody who's like, and we're getting into a weird thing, but like people were talking, somebody was talking about how history tends to go in like these 80-year cycles, and like this cycle is very much like reminding me of like the Industrial Revolution, and there's all the consolidation of wealth and how people are doing that. I think there's going to be a response, which I think has been, I've argued that this response has been somewhat delayed because people are living longer now. So we still have a lot of people within that, like in the previous cycle probably would have been dead already. People didn't live to be like 85, 86 before, like 100 years ago. And I think that actually like has kind of warped this, but I do think there's like, because like, God, what was I seeing? Somebody like, it's like the thing where like they'll argue that, oh, this person was a communist or a socialist. It's so bad. And people are like, okay, he wants to build a school, or he wants to give me benefits instead of spending this money on like guns. Oh, how bad!
Free healthcare?
Free healthcare? In this economy?
Oh my gosh!
That's like somebody's talking about like I saw like it's maybe been like the worst comment I've seen, because they were like, oh, AI is like intelligence, so basically not wanting data centers built into jurisdiction is like slavery, or like when I was like is like a human rights violation. I was like, the fuck is this guy saying?
Oh, there's that style of intellectual thought has been coming up since this has happened. It's absolutely
this is why
I think it's paid off too.
Here's the thing. Here's why the Industrial Revolution comparison is good, because when the Industrial Revolution happened, right, because they were replacing a lot of the labor with automated work and machines, it drove the start of the labor movement, the unions, the benefits, getting the weekend and getting better conditions. And so it is like, the Industrial Revolution was so great. I'm like, well, that kind of misses the point that the end result of the Industrial Revolution was the world wars, because all the massive wars, and people don't get that like 25% of the world's population died over 30 years, right? Between like 19 World War I and World War II and the Spanish flu, like, you know, we lost like 1 out of every 4 people on the planet died, right? This was not. Things had to get changed, right?
Hey, numbers. So I have some AEW All In ticket news here. Okay. So they finally just crossed 40,000 35, and we're 12 days out.
40,000
in 2012. Yeah, 40,035 in and they're set up. I think they're set up for about 45,000.
Yeah.
And last time during this time in 2024, they had 45,000 with 17 days to go. I think, of course, what's helping this is also that crazy sale they're having with like more than half price. And then I
Well, I
think I
mean,
saw
like
it's like buy
some
one
of that.
get four free. Also, so the sale was supposed to stop in the beginning of August, but it's continuing on until the end because 2 weeks
You
out,
you
might as well
you
keep selling them,
you understand that
distribute it.
and I've said this before, like a lot of this for these shows, the most important part is you want the show to look fucking good, right?
Yeah,
So like there gets to a point where like, yeah, just get as many people as you can in there. But like I will say that like I've made this point before that the draw for AEW, you know what his name is? The best draw for AEW?
Kenny Omega.
Kenny fucking Omega.
Yeah.
And
He's the one
really
that changed this whole round.
every time you put Kenny Omega on top, we start getting record ratings because like BJ and I have talked about this like offline, right? We've had conversations. We know we talked about it.
Yeah.
And I've basically said that like take the number that they're getting on linear cable, multiply by 2, and that's probably an undersell of what they're doing because particularly it's probably better in the demo because most of the numbers in HBO are bigger in the demo. And the scuttlebutt around town, like if you listen to the way people talk about AEW as a property, is that's kind of lines up with that. Everyone thinks that the property is hot, and everyone thinks that's doing great numbers, and it's like out kicking their coverage in terms of cost. It's kind of the opposite of like. It is funny. I was like 2 Dynamites ago, and like. It was kind of funny because it was the first time in a while because you can kind of tell that WB's kind of feeling its oats because they think that like the merger might not happen because there was WB branding all over the Dynamite show. You know what the top turnbuckle said? BJ?
No, I did not.
Lanterns. All the
That's
top
wild.
said
Which is
they had,
big...
they had the lanterns and they had the shark guy come up and talk to the. So they had the promoting Shark Week. They had lanterns on the ring. They had a bunch of like they just been like they were pushing all the WB shows on that. So like there was a lot of like when I saw that I was like, oh yeah. I mean this was like about the time of that band.
I can't tell you that I don't want anybody grabbing this, but the streaming numbers are doing very, very, very well.
Right. We like
yeah,
I mean everybody knows.
that.
I think everybody knows that, but if you're not dumb,
I've said my theory on this is that like they do not because again like so people don't know that and I think I mentioned this before. HBO is now bigger than cable, right? HBO now has more viewers than cable. I think it's like 65 million to 60 million. So like it is.
Yeah, Lantern's got a 9.5 million viewer base, man.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
again,
so.
Like, it's weird that WB keeps putting their biggest properties on Dynamite. But anyway, I will say that like it is. So HBO is
waiting for that Green Lantern entrance at All In.
They're only doing 2,000. They're only listening to the whoever. They're doing 2,000 on streaming. Yet they're getting all this WB promotion.
If you read any ratings talk or any talk about linear TV or anything about that, the fact that Dynamite is a show that is growing in audience, like it's basically delivering a bigger audience in cable than it was last year, while likely delivering a bigger number on cable,
with much less homes
on HBO, which right now is probably one of the hottest streaming services in terms of like getting audience in the US. It's kind of wild. Like really, this is why
Osprey's definitely gonna come out as Hal Jordan. He's definitely gonna be Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, my thing on this is like, I mean, I think that like I've argued that like I would probably keep it on Kenny.
I tell you what, I don't know if I could take it off Kenny at this point. I think I think some of what they did on Wednesday,
especially
look at
especially they're gonna go head to head. They're gonna go head to head with WWE in Chicago, in Illinois, for the AAA pay-per-view versus the WWE pay-per-view.
I mean,
and I think you have to have Kenny on there. Like high key, this is Kenny selling the seats for that pay-per-view. They're almost at a sellout right now.
I think I not only do I keep it on Kenny, I figure out a way to get to Kenny Hangman again, right? I think there's got to be.
Those are the guys. Like those two and Swerve and Mox. Those are the four. Those are the four horsemen of AEW's rating success. And Osprey's just not there yet.
Well, here's the thing. With it is kind of funny, like because like we were talking about this in Discord too, which is how Will was talking about like Vegeta and Goku. I'm like, yeah. Basically, Will they're basically booking the Cell games, right? Because Vegeta went evil. God. He did Majin Osprey by joining the Death Riders, and now he needs to lose like Vegeta got blown the fuck out. Like the
Vegeta's gonna blow. He's gonna get blown up.
If you're Vegeta, you're never winning, right? Vegeta doesn't win, man.
Yeah.
Vegeta gets his ass kicked.
This means that Kenny Omega has to absorb the Young Bucks, man. You know that, right? He has to absorb the Young Bucks.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Well, no, see, but see, that's the thing. I didn't get to that. The Young Bucks are Yamcha and Krillin.
Okay, so I had them as 18 and 17 for the Cell Games thing.
No. And MJF is Frieza, he's going around calling everybody monkey.
Oh God, yeah, that's a joke if you get it. Oh man,
but
like my God,
like the final bat of Dragon Ball is like this. Frieza is like this, and he's like very short, right? And he calls the main character monkey.
Yeah, he's like basically an allegory for Hitler.
Yes,
in some ways.
Well, so like if we're gonna get into that, Majin Buu is an allegory for the United States.
Yeah, and consumption, and then okay, I get that.
Anyway,
but anyway, we got way off track there. But I just want to say, like, as we're talking business, as we're talking mergers, as we're talking all of this, I can't say that as a live product that wrestling is hot. I mean, like 45,000, 40,000, that's a good number, okay? No matter where it is, that's a lot of butts and seats, right? That's a lot of money.
Do they have, what all matches do they have announced for All In?
Everything. So Monet is working Willow.
Yeah.
We've got Kenny and
Kenny Osprey, Willow.
Kenny Osprey.
I think the Continental Cup will be Nigel and Mox.
Oh God!
They better fly less out there. They have to fly less out there.
Oh God! I don't want
if that's the match.
Like
they should.
I have not watched Dynamite this week through because I watched the Kenny interview and I knew the Nigel match was coming up. It's like I do not want to see this fucking guy beat like Hechicero.
He's gonna. He's gonna beat Kyle O'Reilly too. He's gonna beat him with the wacky line.
I don't want this.
This is all for Les Thatcher, man. This is gonna be the Nigel McGuinness's like retirement. They have Les Thatcher there as like the timekeeper.
The other match.
I know BJ's the one marking out for Les Thatcher.
Well, yeah, I don't think Les will be there, but but if he is, he's worth the price of it.
Give him a payday. Give him a payday.
So it's probably Hangman and Brodito versus Swerve and a mysterious tag team to be named later.
Yeah,
the thing also, like, they might change that to a casino style gauntlet.
Yeah, because they challenge.
He said bring everybody on.
Which I'm all for that if they do the gauntlet and then the last 10 outs. They're there for it's a new day for them because of the time change. But so besides so you have a trios gauntlet, Willow,
you have
C2 final, Osprey, Mox,
Young Bucks versus Christian and Cope.
The best match probably will be Takeshita, Okada, and Fletcher, probably.
Takeshita, Okada, Fletcher. I mean, that's a pretty strong lineup.
You also have Darby versus Kevin Knight for the
Darby
TNT.
Kevin Knight is a good match too. Yeah.
I was trying to think if they had anything they could announce ahead of time, leading into this, that could pop their tickets. But
I mean, if they wanted to pop their tickets, they could have announced a New Day. I think the problem with a New Day is it might be a situation where, like, I don't know when they officially can show up.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a little bit of a thing because I think this is an open secret thing. Their contract negotiations have not completed yet. Allegedly, their contracts have not. The negotiations have not like finalized yet. So we don't know if they're gonna appear here or not. Like if they don't appear here, oh man, I don't even know who Swerve would get to team with him. But I think like they have a strong card set up here. We don't even have like anything set up for the TBS belt yet. We also have the women's tag titles match, the Divine Dominion versus the
Hater, Hater and Windsor. I'm a big fan of Hater. I'm a big fan of Hater, and I can't wait till she's in the world title scene again. I'm also glad they've given some real heft to the tag division.
My suspicion with Hater is that she can't go in singles.
That might be true. I mean, her career was highly in doubt.
I don't think she can. They basically moved her on to.
Yeah, if that's the best match that Mercedes could get out of you, and that was something that we all looked forward to. Like it was a good match, but it wasn't what it could have been.
It wasn't a Jamie 3 years ago match.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I also think, I think another thing it could pop them is you get Eddie Kingston and softball with somebody, but it's kind of late to.
well, I mean, is Kingston eliminated from the?
No, that's Saturday. That's Saturday.
Yeah, Kingston
like we'll know.
Could theoretically make the final. Kingston.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would be a better match than my night. Theoretically.
Yeah. I also want to say this before Eddie Kingston. Rob Viper is right about him, but
in what sense?
Yeah. Is that he's not gonna be like what you think it will be there. I think the best thing for Eddie to do in Arena Mexico, wear the Puerto Rican flag shirt, wear the Puerto Rican bandana, wave the Puerto Rican flag, get all the heat you can get.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
That's what I say to Eddie Kingston. If he's listening, wepa. Honestly, just go full Puerto Rican, bro.
I just want to say I'm glad this. I gotta say we've really twisted some roads in the past, but we ended up from business discussion to talking about stuff I have no idea what I can understand at all.
Let me lay the picture for Eddie if he's listening. Eddie, come out in the Team Puerto Rico baseball jersey, World Baseball Classic.
Oh yes.
You got a
Oh my God.
You gotta wear the pearls.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And you need to play it. You need to play it out in Kenya. Come out to La Borinqueña.
Oh shit! You want the heat, bro? This is the heat you're gonna get, especially.
I don't think Eddie wants to die in Mexico. I think he just wants heat in Mexico. But
no, he's still fine. He's been fine. It's Arena Mexico. They'll pelt him with piss, but he'll be fine.
All right.
He'll be in heaven with that.
This is Coliseo. This is not like Azteca, man.
It's not Arena Mexico. It's Coliseo. It's a party. It's a party atmosphere.
You can do it there. You can't if you try that in Azteca, you get murdered. But yes, you.
Oh God! No.
Guys, I gotta check out.
Yeah,
this has been a lot of fun.
Thank you guys for joining us for State of Wrestling. This is Larry. We already got our plugs at the beginning. So thank you for listening. I know it's been a long show, so enjoy. Thank you guys. Hey, hello guys. This is Dr. Lariat. I am finally back with 2 eyes. I'm now a Biclops, no longer a Cyclops. And let me give.
So that's not very thematic with the Odyssey coming out. Come on, man.
The Odyssey has already been out.
That's good for you. I've
already watched the Odyssey. It's kind of felt like I was watching like one of the Townie movies, because like everybody had American accents, even like the British actors had American accents. So it was pretty I gotta say the last scene.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
One thing I want to mention, like, before we get into like that, which is I haven't had a chance to drop it, but like I don't know that people get with Odysseus. You know that the word origin of the word odious, right? Of like being hated is Odysseus, right? So he's like the heel. He's like a heel. He's like the first tweener basically. And God, the Romans hated him, by the way. And he's like the first tweener. And it's kind of funny because like it doesn't really translate that well sometimes in English, but in Spanish it's like it's always been obvious to me that like he's kind of that tweener kind of. He says he's El Santo before El Santo.
Oh man,
is because he's like clever and he like fights dirty too. Right?
Yeah.
And
not afraid to sacrifice a couple men to get his point across. So
why did you shoot that Cyclops? Okay,
didn't make any sense to me. Like you didn't have to, but you did. But I'm here. You obviously heard Arturo. We have a third guy here because on this show, it's a little bit of State of Wrestling special, State of Puro. I got with me the #1 Dragongate coverage person here, Gutzdozer. What's up, Guts?
What's up?
Yeah, man.
How's it going?
And there's been a lot that's been happening in Puro. Naito has finally won the GHC title. So it's a race between him and Jake Lee about who's going to get the third belt. Unfortunately, Jake Lee got his neck hurt during the G1. So, eyes are all on Naito and Kento at the next United Japan show.
So probably not him, then?
Probably not him.
I want to, we were talking about this off air, but I wanted to mention that I think with Puro, and I've done previous years, I've done really well at the D1 Pick'em, which is essentially the way I would do it is I turn my brain to Gato and try to book the Gato in the old Bushi Road New Japan booking team. And I had no feel for this particular tournament. And this more than anything, and we hear things, is that this booking team is very different now. And they're going, we were kind of speculating about this, but they're much more, they love their Noah guys. And I think we kind of think that there's different people kind of calling the shots at the top, even within the room. People we know we've talked about Shota being involved. People said that maybe Zach's involved and a couple other people are involved. And I think that that was clear because, hey, I mean, look at the people who did extremely well. It's Reiwa who Noah loved Reiwa and for good reason. And this was a really hot, really cool tournament, by the way.
Yeah,
lots of interesting shit.
Yeah, the whole discussion this week. Hey, what's up, BJ?
Hey, man.
We got our third here, BJ. We're about to talk a little bit about. We're about to talk a little bit about how people have been talking about the G1.
Missed you guys.
Yeah, buddy.
I missed you guys.
I'm now Biclops, so I'm by a lot of things.
Biclops.
Yeah, because I got 2 eyes. But yeah, the thing that people have been talking about all week, shout out to Euler, Schlada, even got Dave Meltzer involved, is the headlock versus armbar main event that was the G1 final. And a lot of people have their takes on it. I personally like the match. But, during my time off, I've been watching a lot of Dory Funk Jr., a lot of Terry Funk, a lot of our favorite California guy there, Numbers. I'm talking about Nick Bockwinkel. So this match was kind of right up my alley. I really liked it.
Long-time listeners will know that BJ and I have waxed poetic about moves you're doing wrestling. Moves and hits have to mean something.
Yes.
And one of my pet peeves is people love the strike exchanges. And I'm a guy who kind of dislikes strike exchanges when they don't mean shit, right? If you just shouldn't just be letting the other guy hit you. It's a fight. These should mean something. It should be within the context of a match, right? If you're doing a move and you sell the move it's impactful, and if you have 2 guys like Oiwa and Omura selling that move and selling that as something that means something, then it just adds value to what you're doing, right? It's more meaningful. And there's a saying less is more, right? This doesn't mean you don't do the big spot, but I think sometimes we do these big, huge spots and we don't give them meaning. I'm remember when Ospreay was doing the whole thing about the Tiger Driver 91? And it was hilarious to me because he's doing I can't do the Tiger Driver because I'm going to hurt people. And then he was doing the Styles Clash as a setup, which is a move that's basically taking people out of wrestling in the last 10 years. And I'm you're doing the Styles Clash as a transition and worried about the goddamn Tiger Driver. I'm what are you doing?
Put out Ibushi for a whole 2 months with the hidden blade. That's the hidden blade lord.
Yeah, it's
yeah. I forgot about that. Ospreay's kind of he came of when he started making it big was right when the strike exchange and we got to make I got to make this move look like it's actually murdering somebody.
I think,
and I'm with you on the strike exchange. I see Mox doing it, and it's become the new suicide dive.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'll leave it the reason, and I love this kind of where we can turn something into something meaningful is my favorite Ospreay match in AEW probably is the TV match he had with Darby. And that match is built entirely around this one crazy bump, right?
But
they do this bump onto the apron, the side of the apron, and everything is built up to that, built around that. It's a very simple story, but they make it mean so much because they sell the shit out of that bump, right?
This was a Manhattan Sitter match, right?
Yes, the Manhattan Sitter.
Yes, that's probably one of my favorite matches of all time.
Going back to the G1, and we're talking about the strike exchanges.
Yes.
So what we had here was a lot of grappling exchanges, 2 guys jockeying for position.
Yes.
whenever whenever Oiwa had the big lock on, or he had like thinking of having the headlock, Uemura reverses out of it, goes for the armbar, and like every time one guy switches and gets the position, that you hear the crowd full of women, by the way, which Guts knows, like the louder you hear the women, the more successful the promotion. And I just thought that was
we know this. We know this historically. We see it in CMLL too, right? Like, oh, hey,
you hear the.
But I think
it's going to be.
The point is like.
I haven't even seen this match yet, and it's driving me absolutely insane. I do not have New Japan World. I don't have a subscription, and I'm losing my mind because let's say through legal and non-legal means, I'm trying to find this match.
I'm gonna hook you up. I got a contact in China, my man. I can hook you up.
Oh, okay.
I got. There's a nice channel I can hook you up with.
Normally I would not even ask, but I've been dying to see. This is the only time that when Stardom had the arena, match a few years ago that was kind of the shoot style match. Well, I mean, that was the last time I've done this, and now I'm like, I gotta see this match. I hear insane things about it. Yeah.
I think people kind of miss the point on this because I remember people when we've watched Okada. The biggest thing with him was like the whole wrist control thing, right? And how he's doing the wrist control and how he's building around that simple thing to get him to the Rainmaker. And we watched that Muto match, the bloody mask, the bloody face mask, and that again, it's also built in a very simple form. So simple, executed, and well sold will get the people over. And doing it with young guys who are appealing, which is what they're doing now, will get the women in. And if you get the women in, then you will like if you're getting the women and the men, you're going to make a shit ton of money. And I think like right now, whatever they're doing like the change they've done and the shift they've done in talent has worked. It
reminds me of what Dragon Gate's done over the last 25, 30 years of always introducing these new young hot boy talents and getting the crowd into them and saying like these are the guys that you're to watch. We're talking about the Big Six, of course. Guts, did you have a chance to watch the G1 finals?
I did not. I don't follow New Japan too closely.
That's no problem for me because like by the way, guys, I talk New Japan. You're gonna hear me talk about it with my friends, the Pawn Brothers, after this thing. So I brought Guts here to talk a couple things. And the one New Japan thing that I want to talk to him about is, of course, I guess heaven is in Tokyo, Japan, because Shun Skywalker is now the leader of House of Torture. He's now here. He's now laughing.
Have they made him leader?
I'm not sure yet, but it sure feels like he's the leader.
I think he's the leader, and then he's feuding with it's not going to be fucking Ren Narita.
No,
come on.
Yeah, he's feuding with Takeshita right now.
Which I think that's really interesting because they've really done a good job at pairing off these new stars with like great talents, right? Because we were talking about like Oiwa being paired with Yuto Ice and with Umura, and then like how now like Takeshita may be paired with Shun. So they're doing kind of this very good. Oscar's done a lot of work with like Zach and also with Shota and Oiwa too. So like you've done this job at like setting up these new guys and setting up like these easy rivals.
Oleg and Suji, man.
This is how.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Well, I mean, we're going to talk about like what I think is they're going to do for Suji because I'm going to ask a question about like the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah,
but keep going.
Well, I think it's really interesting too that if you look at if they are already making him the leader of House of Torture, then that's a bigger push than Shingo got when he came in. That's huge.
It's a huge position that's a great point.
Because Shingo was a junior when he came in.
Yeah, he's actively
for some reason
he's actively a heavyweight here. He's calling out the heavyweights in the division. He's saying that Takeshita is scared of him. And Takeshita is a pushed entity in New Japan. It's also interesting as a pushed entity in the AEW at some points for some people. But I think...
Which means there's potential for Shun in AEW, which would be really interesting.
Yeah, because, he has worked a lot of the U.S. states here, like in Colorado and California. Yeah. That's all I was able to see.
He speaks a fair amount of English, too.
Yeah.
I was joking that they should have Shun be Leo Rush's him, right?
That's a great pairing.
That'd be interesting to me.
Tag team of the year right there.
But I mean, I think again, long-term booking also because you're booking Shun with Takeshita, which basically sets him up in the future to work Forbidden Door, right? We can get him into like working into some of the guys who are tangentially attached to that, and it really works. And again, if I'm them, eventually I do want to pay off the babyface Shun at some point down the line, but we gotta work heel Shun at the top level now.
Because there's nobody that filled this role, which is an essential role in New Japan, as the top bad guy here. Because there's not really a top bad guy, and like I know it seems top bad guy in the upper mid card and the mid card, but like it's a position that nobody's filled since like Evils went away. And Narita's not that guy. And there's like a lot of guys who's like, we're talking about.
Man, I don't think they've really done it well or had a draw there since Bullet Club was at its peak.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
they were trying to make Finlay in that position, but then he was, he dipped. So.
Yeah,
I just think, he did. But also, too, it's like, I mean, Finlay. I think at some point you got to go away from the Gaijins in that role. You got to find somebody.
Yeah.
Well,
something different.
It could have been Takeshita, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he is good at being heel.
He is good.
The problem is, but the problem is like we hear things and like I mean like I think both the TV partner really loves him as a face, Takeshita, and I think kind of we know that like Tony wanted him as a face. We kind of feel like, I think the booking room from Noah kind of wanted him as a face. You might remember, you remember Cyber Fight is also like, they're also DDT. So, like, I mean, like, I think that, like, the biggest problem was, like, the old booking room was booking him, like that last, not this G1, the last G1. He was basically being booked like a babyface, but then, like, being booked like a heel. So, like, the fights were babyface. But
that was even Wrestle Kingdom this year, man.
That's like it's like so weird, and I think now that you've got him as a heel and he's working like as a babyface and he's working against the proper heel in Shun, I mean this is the best person that Shun's worked, right?
Yeah. I think that this will be a very interesting position for him and Guts.
By the way, I want to be clear. This is no offense to Dragongate workers, but I'm thinking just like in terms of like being a guy who's like a top 10 talent in the world, this is the highest to the top of the best in the world Shun has ever worked, right?
I mean, you also got like, I mean, he's worked Shingo, he has worked Yamato, Mochizuki I still think is, but like we're talking about contemporary, sure, he's seen like as one of the top guys in the world. But Guts, I brought you here.
Yeah, we're talking about like. I mean, what I mean by this is Takeshita is consistently working top 10 matches of the year.
Yeah,
right? Which to me means that like this is a really really interesting opportunity for Shun as he's kind of like he's been working out the style where he's working heel and kind of like working tweener. And I'm like really curious to see how this is going to go because this is probably his best dance partner in ages, right? And I think this is going to be really interesting.
I also don't think he's going to take that stupid TV belt off of him, because he's above that. We all know, like, well, me and you numbers and Guts know that Shun's above belts. Shun is always above belts.
So he says.
But
he's the Roddy Piper.
But I don't think he's above. He's not going to be above their very certain belt.
Yeah. But that's why I brought Guts here, man. If people wanted to like really get a feel for what Shun is, there's always one video that I send to people because a lot of people ask me like, "Who's this guy? I hear Dragongate. I hear he's from Dragongate," and like. I just send them, of course, the Shun Masquerade video that our one lovely, handsome video producer here, Guts made.
So that video started doing numbers again within the past couple of weeks because people have started looking him up, and they're like, "Who is this like crazy screaming man?"
So, God, can I make a suggestion? Get some Spanish subtitles. Get some Japanese subtitles on that baby.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to figure out how to apply those.
Get somebody
it's supposed to do it by default, but
get somebody who's bilingual, like in your circle, that like from Dragon maybe that can get that thing dubbed in Japanese because you can get some views on that. That video is great, and I think people kind of like the thing about Shun that people have to understand is Shun is a guy who, and people got mad at me when I've said this, but he's like Seth freaking Rollins, but if Seth freaking Rollins didn't suck,
oh god,
right?
Yeah.
No, and let me be clear because the problem is like Seth plays it for comedy, right? And Seth is doing this is all being the wild man gimmick. I've basically said like what Dusty Rhodes used to do. the wild man gimmick, which is what Rusty used to do, and Seth came in and does it. And Seth does this as comedy without any like narrative sense. And what's great about Shun is Shun has this very cool narrative sense that he does through everything that he does, and he carries that into the ring in his work, right?
Yeah.
And once you start getting a feel for it, you go, oh, because I was like, at the end, where like he was kind of like moving towards maybe baby facing it, and how he's kind of shifting the way he was working. It really was great, right? And I think that this is why I'm really excited to see him working against these guys. Like, Takeshita is like a Kenny protege, right? And if there's somebody who like thinks about this shit as much as Shun, it's probably Kenny Omega, right? And and this is kind of, if this works, could be really interesting because these are two people who think about like these tiny little fucking details.
I've made this comparison before on my channel, but I have said that I've made this comparison where Shun is kind of like if MJF had a coherent backstory.
Oh man, that's perfect.
I've said basically what would happen if you had somebody who was like MJF is a legendary worker with Jeff Jarrett's book.
Oh, he's great. No shade on him, but his narrative is all over the place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way,
he's the bullied kid that turned into the asshole. He's the asshole kid who turned into the asshole. He's the kid with the Camaro who played.
Oh man!
And that, I'm so glad you said that. That's so deservedly true. And it goes to, I think the big problem I think a big problem that goes to Bax's kind of like growing up in the era of WWE. But but man, that was a very revealing comment, Guts, and a very informative one on two different wrestlers.
Yeah. What are we? By the way, what are we recommending for him? I'd say if people haven't seen him, I'd point him to the Yamato match.
The Yamato match from this year, probably. Definitely the Benkei knockout match.
Kobe Pro one. Oh yeah, that match is really good. Yeah.
The 2 nights from Kobe World, the one where it's KZ and then Yamato.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one I always recommend to people.
Yeah.
Where it's not quite KZ time. Yes. No. I know the match very well.
Ah man. I love that we're in KZ time right now. But like I do want to say this about Shun. Before I guess gets more into this. There's a big movie that I watched this year, like about this week. The Mark of Zorro from 1998 with Antonio Banderas. That is the kind of vibes that
that's maybe the most underrated action movie of all time. Go ahead.
That's kind of the vibes I get from Shun. That was kind of the vibes I was getting from Shun when he was starting to do like the tease of doing the more face kind of way of like, because Zorro, he's not like Mr. Goody Two Shoes, at least the Antonio Banderas one. It's more of like he's suave. He's like sneaky. He's very calculating and very psychological. And where Shun goes usually, like in these stables, he destabilizes the stables and makes it in his own image. So we're probably gonna see guys get kicked out. We're probably gonna see young guys get brought in, because if you talk about Shun, he is a guy who really grooms his henchmen into being as
who is he?
Shomakato.
Number one. Ooh, like number one pick for Shun to steal and bring into his new house.
Yutani.
Guts, who do you think?
Ooh, that's interesting.
I got a name, but like I'm gonna hold off to you guys say.
Yeah. Very good.
I think
from anywhere or
from anywhere like that, like realistically could come in and work in the House of Evil or the House of Torture.
House of Shun.
That's a Shun.
Actually, Yutani's a really good
Yutani
shout.
Yutani would be so great, man. I'm loving him on these Friday shows.
I think Shun needs a big man. I think he might steal Oscar.
Oh, that's
Vampire Oscar would fit. Honestly.
yes. Because again, like the thing I'm thinking is, I think you're very quickly going to set him up as the number one heel in the company, right?
He has to pervert people.
I think you right, and I think I want.
It also has to be someone who can turn on him eventually too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone who the room
or
is
someone
really
he can screw over.
and the room is really high on, and we kind of know that they're really high on Oscar because Oscar, if you've seen his matches, he's really good at some of this
Oh
stuff.
man,
Zach loves him. Like you can just he's a guy that if you're going to push Oiwa to the moon, then Oscar's a guy. If you make him a heavy, then that actually like opens up a lot of possibilities, right? I think this is like again just me thinking about around how you're going to do this, like. Doc, who do you think is what do you think is going to be the main event of the Wrestle Kingdom at this point? What do they have written down as the main event for Wrestle Kingdom?
okay, so in my head, right? Because certain vlogs that I watch, I think that really Suji is gonna be there. I think Suji is gonna be there, whether he's gonna be challenging or being champion. I don't know, but I know that TV Asahi is relying on him as a draw, and I think they announced that it's probably going to be on TV Asahi again because they liked him for Dominion this year and they liked him for Wrestle Kingdom.
But let me throw you a curveball. Why wouldn't you do Naito Suji for the GHC at Wrestle Kingdom?
See, that's where I was going. Because I would do that match.
We've never paid it off. We've never paid off the Ingobernales.
No,
it's right there. Naito's holding it, and there's nobody. I mean, you could argue there's nobody working right now in Japan who's a bigger draw at like the Dome than Naito. So,
yeah, if
why wouldn't you do this?
Like if you do have like Suji beats like whatever Suji beats Goto in this next coming show. Suji beats Oiwa in October. And then you hear the Los Tranquilos theme, and he comes out.
But like the thing is, but I got to take the belt off. I basically feel that if I'm doing this, basically I'm assuming Oi was beating Suji for the belt before that, right?
Because
be surprised they're having him wrestle in the fall and not at Wrestle Kingdom.
This is the third year in a row.
Because
they're establishing this as a title shot in the fall now.
Right. No, because because I'm thinking they put the belt on Naito, and they got to know that Naito's the big draw, and that Naito Suji match to me is the biggest thing they have out there. Right?
What they're doing now in the fall is not being like handheld with that title shot, so they could bring anybody in to challenge after this challenge, and build that to be the top match. Whether you want it to be a guest guy like a Naito or like a Kenny Omega, I don't want that.
Well, I mean, logistically, again, the way you have to do it, and like one of the things I've done, and I don't know if you've done it, is like I can basically get to the TV Asahi page and see how they're kind of presenting that on the online streamer, and like if I'm booking that room, then I want to get shine from my biggest draw, which is probably Naito in terms of the Dome, but I also want to get that shine back into kind of Noah. So effectively, if I can get like a 2-match series like we had a couple years back with Kiyomiya, or like another company, but like you do the same thing where you run it at the Dome, but then you also run it at like Noah on Noah TV, and you get all over. And like as Suji coming up, why wouldn't you put him on your multiple shows, right?
Just like Osprey and Mega 1 and 2. Just make sure both companies get it. And I mean, if you're going to do that match, you better do it now. I mean, Naito.
And again, here's the thing: Cyberfight is paying Naito's checks, so why wouldn't you? Again, this is kind of like, why would you shoot yourself in the head if, like, why would you avoid bringing in your biggest draw, and then you can have like a double main running, like you can run a main with like you can rerun the young guys, because you can, if Oiwa's holding the belt, you can have Oiwa work Yuromura again. You can basically just do a rematch of the G1. You can do Oiwa against his rival in Yuro Ice and elevate Yuro Ice. And then, like, if you're doing that, then you can have somebody like Shun come out afterwards and challenge the winner, which, again, you're setting everything up for the year. Okay. Now, I'm not saying this is what you should do, but I'm saying, like, if I'm booking this and I'm trying to set up, here are my young baby faces, let me get the biggest draw. And, like, because here's the thing, I've always wanted to give Suji a big Wrestle Kingdom win, and the guy he should have always beaten is fucking Naito, right?
Yeah.
They were in the faction. Naito's clearly the biggest draw that was in the company when he was there. Nobody, like, he didn't transfer that heat to anybody. He's holding the GHC belt. Dude, to me, it just makes too much sense for, like, Naito to put over his young boy. Like, put over your guy, right? Specifically now, where like Tsuji looks like he's the next guy, maybe the best wrestler in the world. Fucking have his mentor put him over and put a belt on him and look the big show of the year.
That would be because like something. That would definitely be something.
Let's make a couple people here, right? Let's just make everybody. Like, let's make Reiwa and let's make Tsuji, who hasn't gotten that big win. And here's the thing: I don't think Tsuji just defending the belt at Wrestle Kingdom is like. Is there anything that Tsuji could do at Wrestle Kingdom that would be bigger than beating Naito?
No. Naito would be the prize. That's kind of why I want it.
Here's the thing: it wouldn't be like even beating Okada, right? Even if you got Okada to come in and lay down for Tsuji, it would not be as big as doing Los Ingobernables and just be like, hey, let's do and have him beat his guy, like have him beat Naito, right? And that's why I'm like, they've never like, if you look at the guys, I think Naito put over like Cobb, I think is the only guy he put over before he left, right? It's just like, you've never catched this in. And here's the thing, to me, like my wrestler promoter brain in the back of my head is going like, why the fuck they never do this, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm thinking again about like, who could Shun pervert to his side? Shun getting KOB over on his thumb. That would be tremendous. And then getting Oscar to turn on Yuto would be fantastic.
I mean, the obvious one is Shingo, but I kind of want Shingo to be working heel, but against Shingo needs to be the gateway to Naito and Tsuji to me.
I don't think Shingo would be subordinate to Shun.
No.
I think you would always see him as his.
You would always see him as a junior.
I'm saying Shingo. I'm saying Shingo should be working the Ingobernables angle, right? Shingo's your gateway to Naito, right? That's how you kind of get to that Naito Tsuji match to me, right?
Yeah. It's a shame we don't have a time bomb, but you know what else is going on right now in the world of wrestling? Because you're going to hear us talk a lot about whatever other wrestling federations there are in Japan. Right now in Dragongate, my favorite promotion in Japan, we are having the Rey de Parejas 2026, and I am so impressed with Venus, and I'm very impressed with Homare and Kumura as a tandem. That's a super team right there. That's like two young guys who they're still in their I guess they're in their second year in wrestling, but they work so well together. Like it's so weird.
Pairing up them with Ryoya Tanaka is that's like a masterstroke of booking. That's just like those three are going to be insanely popular.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, Ryoya's gonna be my guy who's gonna win the Dreamgate, and really hold that. That's gonna be like he's going to be the really next guy up on that.
Once he drops the Brave, then they need to catapult him up to the main event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about that when we were talking about Dragongate. I still think, we kind of know where they're probably going after KZ time. Or we kind of think we know where we're going after KZ time. But I think down the line, I think they're going to solidify Rio with all the records. And then we move on from that, right?
And
then have him take on Shima.
Man,
Kobe World.
Oh man, Shima! That news with Shima falling for some boomer click ad bait, some bait. Oh my god, you guys heard about that, right? So he got scammed from. He gave his money to a scammer off of a text message that he thought it was his friend, but it was a scammer. He fell for
That's not entirely surprising.
Oh my god, he fell for one of those things that your grandparents or parents fall for. Very, very.
Which it's Shima, so
it is Shima. But
also, what was it? Masato Yoshino also fell for a pyramid scheme and lost a bunch of money. So maybe it's just like that crowd of people is a little too trusting.
Oh yeah. Oh man. I'll never trust people with your money.
And then there's Magnum is he was a massive grifter back in the day.
Oh man.
Not a wrestler who's a massive grifter? Come on, man.
Yeah, you don't say.
I mean, the karate master, Magnum Tokyo, just. Oh
God.
But yeah, man. Okay, could you Guts in as broad terms as possible? What does Rey de Parejas mean as a tournament for Dragon Gate?
So it's like they have had tag leagues for quite a while. It was Rey de Parejas is an old Toryumon term because it was very much like original Toryumon was highly linked to Mexico and like lucha as a whole, and it became the Summer Adventure Tag League when it was when they switched over to Dragongate. But more recently, after Ultimo came back, they wanted to change that back to the old school term. So it's really just it's usually 2 round robin blocks, and then the winner of each block faces off at one of the big events or no, they usually have a Korakuen where they have the finals, and then the winner of that goes on to the next major show and gets an Open the Twin Gate title shot. But usually the Twin Gate champions are, not always, but often, in one of the blocks. So they can kind of spoil people, and if they win, they get to choose their opponents.
Oh, okay. And who are the Twin Gate champions right now at this time?
Right now, it's Team 204, which is Ishin and Yoshiki Kato.
I love these guys so much.
Those two, they're so good. They're like the chemistry between them is so good. Like their personalities are great.
Just big swingers.
And they are currently. I believe their score is 0 currently.
Yeah.
But,
they've only had the one though. They've only had the one match.
Yeah.
And they lost to Hyo, who we kind of think Hyo is getting like the massive push now. So
and the thing with Hyo having Gianni Valletta as Myeon is, I think it's great. I think it's hilarious, but the way that they keep losing matches or getting disqualified because he uses the chain and Hyo can't control him. I think it's a really good bit.
It's very
they got a double count. They did Kamei and Rita, and they got a double count out. Which I mean, Kamei and Rita also are like highly pushed, kind of contingent. But they got the win over Ishin and Kato, which again, they're pushing Hyo, but like you're putting it with Valletta. Valletta is a good way because I kind of feel that Hyo's not getting pinned in this tournament, right?
He needs to. I think he needs to be protected right now.
Yeah,
but I think also just he's Triangle Gate champion too, so I don't know if they're going to have him go for both.
Well, I feel like Hyo's going to lose that Triangle Gate.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I think I think they probably won't win the whole block because he can't control Valletta.
It's a good way to get out of pins because Valletta rarely loses. Yeah. So it's a good way to have because Valletta is pretty much BJ. I think you would love. I think you will love Johnny because he's pretty much Bruiser Brody in 2026. But working luchas.
Well, he's not as good. He's not as good at Brody, but he's got that energy. I'll say if I was future booking, a thing I might do is I might have, if you're gonna have Hyo and Valletta advance, then you have them lose a semi to probably a DQ finish to Homare and Kimura, right? This is kind of because again, I'm kind of thinking, hey, where do we want the Triangle Gate to go next? So that might be kind of a way to do that if you're gonna do that, or you just protect Hyo and he doesn't advance though. You just don't get much.
He doesn't have to be in.
But I mean, a semi a semifinal loss out of that block is who else is I'm assuming Kamei and Rita are going to advance out of that block. I mean, I guess Strong Machine Gay Jane Leota could hold that lead, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Who do you think is advancing, Guts?
I think Jackie Rita is a good bet. A lot of times they will fall back on, I always call them OG Jimmies because they were the original two, but Kagetora and Susumu, they might have a strong run, but I think they're running out of matches to do that. Or they've only had 2.
Yeah.
No, it's I don't think the A block is quite as interesting as the B block, but it's there's a lot of solid picks on there, and there's a lot of it's kind of like they divided it up into the block of guys they know are solid and established, and the guys they're kind of experimenting with, because B Block is sort of experimental. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really see Strong Machine J and Leona making it out, just because Leona's kind of like he's good, but he's not really like the kind of like Dragongate main event guy.
Not yet.
He's never really been in that position. He's kind of untested. So, I think Jackie Rita is probably the top pick for this. If not bet. Them, then I would say the Twin Gate champions stick it out and then become like a bigger threat.
Yeah, I love the work that Bad Cop and Yishin do. It's you talk about like heels who are really heels who don't give a crap. Those two are excellent at this. And
well, I think one of my favorite things about them is that they've kept Kai with them too, and he's just kind of their asshole dad.
Yeah,
you know,
Uncle Kai just right there to keep the sleaze going. And
yeah,
I want to
and hit someone with a box.
I want to thank everybody for coming on here and talking with me a little bit about pro wrestling with my return podcast here. So if people wanted to catch you, Guts, where can people catch you and your show? Because I love your show. Tell people about it.
Yeah, I'm just Gutzdozer on YouTube. So that is where I put out all my content. So I have a preview video of all of the blocks, both the blocks and all the teams going into it up now. So you can check that out, and I'm sure I'll repeat a couple of talking points from there. But yeah, I am actually, like I was saying, I was really interested in what they're doing with the B block, because it's a lot of untested teams, and one thing I was saying is that one thing that's really wild if you think about how just how short a lot of these people's careers are, is that Gyuchi and Aki are like the longest running team in that block.
Oh my god,
which is crazy.
They just barely started teaming. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. One thing I really like, which was kind of surprising to me, is on the last couple shows, the team of the Gajidokuro team of Kikuta and Jason, they have been brutal. Just like, they're so mean and vicious, and it's kind of like, where was this when Kikuta was champion? But yeah, I've really liked what they're doing now.
Yeah, you always expect more from Kikuta, because like he always has like these flashes of he could be something more than he is. But yeah, Guts, thank you for coming on, man. I absolutely love having you, having the number one Dragongate correspondent here in Gutzdozer. Always a pleasure to have you here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
BJ, if people wanted to catch you, where can they read all your things?
I brought nothing to this show, but if you want to read more of that, you can go to BJ Bethel. You can go to my Substack. You can access that through my Twitter, which is BJ Bethel Tweets. Also, Google me. You can find my years and years worth of journalistic contributions if you so dare.
Hey, man. I know I read his articles. Especially, I really do like you covering your locality in Cincinnati. It's always a really interesting read to read those things. Yeah, I read your Substack. I appreciate that. I read it. Of course, numbers, bro. There's been so much freaking happening in the sports world, particularly with my guys. We had the sale of the Lakers to Walters, and then the sale to Bob Iger and Kushner. Very $12 billion right at the last minute.
I've got some bad news, Doc. Some good news, bad news. They might not be able to Jeannie Buss might be done as the governor, but I think Bob Iger has somebody who's not working who might want to be the new Lakers governor.
Who are you thinking?
Kathleen Kennedy could do a really good job. A tremendous job, man. Tremendous.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I've been
I can't imagine dude. I can't imagine waking up and finding out Bob Iger and the Kushner family, the Kushner crime family, now owns the second one of the most beloved franchises in the world of professional. My favorite team. I would. Oh my god.
Here's the thing: who finances the Kushners?
The Saudi Arabia.
So who
Saudis?
Who actually owns the Lakers?
The Saudi Arabia.
Hey man,
yeah, they made him a
these
billionaire.
are the same guys that own the same team that owns the Dodgers. So I guess I'm used to the evil empire owning.
No, Walters was the guy.
Oh shit!
Like, there's a whole thing with him and Walters. Yeah.
Oh fuck!
Walters being pretty broke is a whole thing.
Yeah, that investigation.
But we'll cover that.
We'll cover that next time.
We got
$1 TV, billions and billions in TV deals, and they have no money.
We got to do a basketball pod. I'm going to pick on you, but then I can explain how the tax breaks works for sports.
Yeah,
which is the thing I've written articles on.
Yeah,
we can kind of go into that.
And because we do have the end. I'm not sure if you've been covering in WNBA, but we do have the start of the NFL season coming soon, and the start of the NBA in the winter. But we also have like the MLB playoffs coming out. I'm not sure if you've ever done anything for those things, but keep on numbers on his Twitter. That's American Numbers on Twitter. One of my favorite follows. Guys, we've been getting more followed from more sports betting shows. So good work. So yeah, catch all of us there. Thank you guys for listening. And on the backside of this, catch my G1 review with the Pawn Brothers. Thank you guys.
Get him in the bed sheets.
We are back, and I wanted to say this is the first recording I've done this entire year where I have two eyes, and I have two guys here, so we're just three guys, and we're about to talk.
3 guys, 6 eyes.
Yeah, 3 guys, 6 eyes. We're about to talk the G1 2026. Full disclosure, I wanted to do a whole series this whole summer with these two as we talk about through the G1, but I couldn't because I had no eyes. I was blind for this whole summer. So, I was blind, but now I see, and I see two guys here in Rambones and Nav, who are two guys who I know are huge pro wrestling fans, huge New Japan fans, and they always come prepared. And bro, welcome back to the show, guys.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah. So we're about to talk about the G1, and I think this might have been the best G1 of this decade. Like
easily
in terms of the work, in terms of like the talent being pushed. I mean, the two oldest guys in the tournament were Shingo Takagi and Goto, and those are two of the two guys who can still go and still put on some pretty good matches. When the floor of your whole tournament is really Great Okan, which he had some, between Great Okan and Jake Lee, the silent jester, who he had a pretty good tournament. I did like some of his matches. The match with Sonata was pretty damn good. The match where he kind of went crazy with Suji was good. Where I think, did you guys hear the news about what happened to Jake Lee? So
he got hurt. Might have been injured.
Yeah, might have been injured off of the Fire Blaster, which it took me a while, but I'm like, holy crap, that bump is crazy. Like it's literally like a whiplash style bump. No matter how you take it, the way he takes you down, like you don't really have body control, so you just get whipped into the mat. It's like one of your classic pro wrestling head drop moves without it really looking like a head drop, which, I mean, a Fire Blaster into the corner is a incredibly dangerous kind of finish. And, hopefully you get well soon, Jake Lee. But heading into this tournament, there was like a lot of discussion about, the booking, because before this tournament occurred, we had, of course, the sale of New Japan Pro Wrestling uh, in equal shares to TV Asahi and to Cyber Agent, who are the owners of Cyberfight, who are also the owners of Pro Wrestling Noah, Pro Wrestling DDT, and TJPW. It's a very interesting time. Like, even guys, compare this to where we were at for Wrestle Kingdom, and it's like a whole new. Yeah, I'm about to say a whole new world, but it is a whole new, like, we're in a new era here, guys. We're in the Big Rock era.
It feels like the page turned in a major way, and I think Wrestle Kingdom was almost in a way a culmination of whatever came before, and this is like the beginning of the next thing. That's how it feels to me, anyways.
Yeah. They tried a couple things this year with Callum Newman winning the New Japan Cup and being the youngest man to ever win the IWGP title. They're trying a whole lot of new things. Aaron Wolf finally in this tournament, finally breaking out of the House of Torture and having some incredible matches. In particular, I really, 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 I really like that match with Hanare in Chicago for some reason. I don't know why. That was one of my favorite matches of the tournament. But, like, I think it's just him being so excited to finally not work something like that. And Bolton Oleg, man, you talk about breakouts.
Bolton, a beast,
dude.
Yeah,
like, it's been so
that boy's
long.
got meat.
Yeah, like, I love the style that Brock Lesnar used to work, and this was like, imagine if Brock had stayed in wrestling and just like refined everything. That is what Bolton Oleg is doing with the multiple power bombs, the suplex. Hell, that F5 that he does, the verdict, is so much cooler than Brock's. And the way that he just like was treated in this tournament, like just absolutely, so many guys had some star making turns. And one of the things that we missed out on this year was, of course, Shota Umino. He had the one match with Zack Sabre Jr. and
which was excellent, I will say.
Yeah, it was like,
but
concussion protocols, which is surprising, guys. I am so surprised that they actually
that only happened because he was in the States. Let's keep that a buck.
Yeah.
There's an athletic commission in Chicago, unfortunately.
Yeah. So they checked him out.
And I don't mean unfortunately. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah. He got checked out. He got that, and when you're owned by a big company, like $1 billion company, they're not going to want it out there that we let this guy who was on concussion protocols actually wrestle one of the most grueling tournaments. They never do like injury reports post the G1, if you guys ever think about it.
I just imagine they put him in the hyperbaric chamber for a bit and let him recuperate, because my word.
Golly.
I'll say with regard to Shota, I mean, I'm a Shota Umino guy. He's one of my special little guys. I won't pretend I'm not a booster, but like his absence hurt the beat block because he had big stories built in with a lot of the competitors there. I think especially Drilla suffered for not getting a Shota match on the last night, because I'm assuming that would have been the main event and that would have been a big moment for Drilla.
Yeah.
But with that said, his absence did give some room for some other people to shine, and I'm sure he's going to get his opportunities as well. So like this as an opportunity for some of the other members of that Reiwa generation to take a step forward, probably in the long run, it is a good thing. And Shota has already started to put it together. He's really come around in fan reaction.
Yeah.
His in-ring style is refined to something that meshes very well with what seems to be emerging as the style of some of the other top Reiwa guys. So I really think that in the long run it's going to be okay. But I will say I missed him in this tournament.
Yeah.
And I picked him to win the whole thing, and obviously that did not happen.
But my favorite, the guy I picked to win was actually Yuya Uemura. I was so close. Yeah, and Umino was on the other side of the finals for me, but I thought Yuya was going to win. Who did you guys have winning this in your Chris Samsa G1 King of Sports bracket?
I had the same finals as you, just with the reverse of Shota going over Yuya.
Oh yeah. How about you, Nav?
I did a draft with our boys, and my draft picks. I had Takeshita in the first round,
So close.
and I know. Second round was Callum Newman. Third round was Takage. Fourth, Hinari. Fifth, Sonata.
Well, so I was in that draft as well, and allow me to say something that I think is funny. I picked in the first round Shota Umino. Obviously, he scored me 0 points. But then I had Yuya, Oleg, Oiwa, and Oscar in my following rounds, and I won the whole thing with getting 0 points from my first round pick.
Wow.
So I felt pretty good about
That's
that.
crazy. That's crazy.
I had the 2 finalists.
Hey, that's something there, man. What for you guys? Because I talked about my favorite matches. I particularly really love. One of my favorite rivalries over the last year has been Takeshita versus Bolton, and their match here was probably the best in their series so far, which is a crazy series. I really love the spot where they grab each other's trunks and just start throwing forearms at each other. Just two big beefy boys. I really, really, absolutely thought that that Zach and Yuya had a really great match for me. I really like that match. And
Zach had a lot of good matches this tournament.
Absolutely.
I really liked Zach versus Oscar on was it Night 11?
Yeah,
I agree.
I thought Oscar. I did not think much of him too much going into that tournament, but damned if he did not impress the hell out of me in this.
He reminded me of Lance Archer type, like a big guy who's mobile. He can work as a monster, but he also can move. He's not like lumbering and plotting, you know.
Yeah, he man, I love the goth vampire thing. He's coming out in. What's that German expressionism movie about that? That's kind of what he reminded me of. I know it's on the tip of my tongue.
I mean, it's kind of like a no wave thing, I guess, or I mean, it's adjacent to like a goth industrial look that he's got, and it fits him. It works, and as he grows into it, he gets a little more confidence. He's gonna be great. But I mean, his voice does not match his body because when he's on commentary, he just sounds too nice.
He's a nice boy. He's a nice boy.
Then he goes into the ring and he just rips somebody in half, and you're just like, oh, he just murdered that guy.
You want to talk about somebody polarizing and a match that's polarizing? Yuto Ice versus Yodo Tsuji, one of the most polarizing matches of the tournament, with a couple of people who absolutely loved it, and a couple of people. I'm gonna call you out, Rich Lotta of One Nation Radio. What's up, Rich? Absolutely hated that match. Also hated the finals, which that's not Rich Lotta Pro Wrestling. I get it, but I understand Yuto Ice. He's somebody that they definitely have plans for coming out of this tournament. Him being able to go toe to toe with all the top guys in the A block, and A block this year was the supreme block as far as star power and match quality. And Yuto Ice was near the top of my list of my favorite performers of the tournament. Able to get these kind of crowd reactions, I didn't know.
He's got to have the best charisma and crowd connection of pretty much anyone in the promotion at this point. Maybe you could argue that he's one-dimensional as an in-ring performer.
Yeah.
But in a tag team with him and Oscar, that covers up that weakness and it gives him time to develop. But he took steps forward in this tournament, and I mean, the chop match against Tsuji, to me, you put that right next to the Ibushi Taichi kick match. I'll always remember that because it's so unique and it's just striking,
bruising,
literally striking.
Oh God, that one, the chop match between Dragon Lee and Hiromu.
Oh,
the next day, that picture, just
man, just black and blue blues titties, man.
Yeah.
Talking about the, Shinsuke Nakamura talked about he has a ticking time bomb coming through, which, good luck. But anyway, I think that if you watch the tournament, and the big complaint about New Japan over the last 2-3 years is, what about the next generation? Because the guys from before, your Okadas or Naitos. By the way, congratulations to Naito for being the new heavyweight champion. It's a race between him and Jake Lee to complete the Triple Crown first. And I'm thinking it's definitely going to be Naito. It might be Naito first.
I was going to say, congrats to Naito for having working knees. But no, good for him. Good for him.
Dude, that match was actually it's great. Shane Hayes, local boy. I know he's Australian, but he's lived in LA for like the last 25 years. And he married a Filipino woman, so I have to claim him. So
there you are.
I absolutely love that match. It's one of the matches of the summer for me, but like, dude, nothing has competed with the G1 as an overall tournament this year. I'm sorry, the N1 is not going to be able to compete with this. The things like the Owen Hart Classic and this Continental Cup aren't really doing it for me. This G1 has been all about strength and heart and toughness and trying to break through to like the next level. And I think like even guys who are sort of established like Tsuji and Takeshita, they reach new levels in this tournament, like as not just in ring, but as you were saying, like the way that they're connecting with the crowd, their promos, everything. It's like everybody is like on board with like making this company the top company in the world. And every promo that everybody does against Takeshita, it's like talking about like you talk about going around the world and being the best. This is where the best are. And like I feel it, and everybody like talking like you talk about traveling around the world to learn and become the best. You become the best in New Japan, and it's hard to argue against it, especially. Man, those semifinal matches were incredible. I know, like a lot of people don't like
the best match of Callum's career, in my opinion.
Dude, a lot of people like they don't watch, right? So they compare Callum to Ospreay. Those people are still calling him Wolf Ospreay. But I mean, this is a guy who's drinking a lot of beer, eating a lot of shabu shabu, eating a lot of barbecue. You guys can tell. He's putting on the weight and he's throwing those lariats and he's
bulking.
Dude, he is finding this new way of working heel that I like it. It's not the Jay White way where Jay was kind of slow and bringing people in, like having them lower their sense of security and like, oh, I got it. It's more of like he's incredibly like pissing people off so they'll make mistakes. And they'll throw with him, and then he'll throw something hard. And that's what I love about Callum. He's a counter wrestler, but he also like really does his best to piss off his opponent. It works. And it pisses me off because he's only 23. I'm like, how can you be that great at 23?
He's got great little brother energy and like obnoxious little brother energy. As the little brother,
you're allowed to say that. Yeah. You're allowed to say that, bro.
I am so.
I will say.
I'm
sorry.
Go
ahead.
Man. I am so happy he didn't drop to John Moxley at Forbidden Door, as was the plan apparently. I'm so happy that didn't happen. I'm so happy.
What I'll say on Callum Newman, I think he's definitely still working through some injuries. He seems a little physically limited, but he gutted out this tournament. He had some great performances. I think he relied a little extra heavy on like the crowd brawling and some of the shenanigans to kind of cover up a little of his the physical things he's working through. But all I know is this: like, if you're still a person who's going and slapping the Will cosplay label on him, you have not been watching this.
Absolutely not.
Because from like late 2025 till now, he's been on a hell of a run. And that semifinal, that's the match of his career to this point, in my opinion.
Yeah. 23 again. Just crazy. And the other half of the semifinals was, of course, Yota Tsuji versus Yuya Uemura. Let's talk about their rivalry, okay? They're always like wins. I think Tsuji has the wins over him in their like whole like rivalry dating back to the Young Lion stuff. And last year, of course, they had the Apuestas match where Tsuji shaved him bald. And I think that's where the switch changed in him.
I will say it's interesting because just on the parallel trajectories that they've been on post-excursion, when Yuya and Tsuji have had head-to-head matchups, Yuya, as of right now, is 4-2 over Tsuji. But it doesn't feel like that. Every single time they have a match, Yuya still feels like the underdog relative to Tsuji, just because of the way they've each had their varying levels of success, the way they've been looked at by the crowd, the way they've been pushed. But the victory in the semifinals, I gotta say, I damn near jumped out of my chair when Yuya flipped him over and hit that deadlock. I was like, God damn, man. I was so pumped. It was crazy.
You know, his high fly flow, it's gotten a little better. It's gotten better. It's hard for me to take that as a finish because of the being like the flying cross body part. But you know, he's getting better with that.
I gotta say, for Yuya, like, I know that, like, one of the ways that he, like, looks at himself, or it seems to be one of the ways he looks at himself, as, like, a Ricky Steamboat type of, like, you know, super crisp, super clean, technical prowess babyface. But I gotta say, the way I'm looking at him right now after this, like, late tournament run, and especially his performance in the finals, I think he's a Mr. Perfect, like, crisp, clean, cut them off, get the heat. Anything you can do, I can do better. Like when he was in the final with Oiwa using the headlock to show, like, you think you're good at this, but I'm better. Like, that to me screams like this man would make an amazing heel, like a tactician, technical wrestler, heel controlling the action, dictating the pace and the flow of the match. I think ultimately that might be his lane. I don't know what you guys think about that.
You know, when I'm watching him, and there's a couple of guys that come up to mind. You say Ricky Steamboat. That's been one, like, since I saw him on Impact. But like other guys that come up to mind is like 1994, 95 Keiji Muto. Of course, he started doing like the Dragon Screw leg whips, the Frankensteiners, and all of that stuff. But you know, he's also still like, you know, he was also a junior for Sonata, and you see a little bit of like the flashy Sonata-isms in him.
Sonata at his peak,
peaks,
like when he was that clean technical style, also same thing.
Yeah, and the pinfalls, the roll-ups, he got over the cross arm breaker in this tournament. That was not his finish before this tournament, like, but he got that sucker over. Just like on the other side, you had the big Raku, you know, Roy make that headlock into something. You know, he heard that one Mark Henry quote of, "You can make a headlock a finisher if you work it right," and he took it to heart. Because
he took that as a mission statement. He's like, "Yeah,
there was
this is what I'm doing."
It's not like something that just accidentally happened over the course of this final. Like if you're just parachuting in to watch, that's what you might think. But through the course of this tournament, he set out to get the headlock over. He set out to show, hey, I'm meat and potatoes. I'm the basics. I'm like everything that this dojo represents and the fundamentals that the young lions are trained in. I'm the perfection of that. And sure as fuck he did it, man. It's incredible the way he came across. And I got to tell you, Oiwa reminds me of like late 80s, like a Steiner. He has that kind of like big, bulky meathead flipping people, you know, hard wrestling, basic fundamental wrestling. Like, and I love that shit. I think it's incredible. And he just fits that, like that archetype so perfectly, but like the modern evolved version of it.
Yeah.
I couldn't be happier.
He
He
wrestles like a Steiner and Dr. Death, but looks like Lex Luger. Mm-hmm. He looks like Lex Luger spent time in Japan and like as a, you know, I'm not gonna make that joke.
Lex Luger was scared to get on an airplane. He'd never do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe if he could take a boat.
Why did Lex Luger never go back to Japan after his run in the 90s? I wonder why. But anyway, it's he did tremendous work in here. Just, you know, he's representing TMDK. We talked about Zack Sabre Jr.'s boys and the style that Zack kind of tried to bring in of like, you know, this is a lot more focused on like the basics of the meat and potatoes and all that stuff. And you heard it like every time that Uemura would get like a wrist lock or get like double unders and like you think, oh, he's going for for like the deadbolt, or he almost had a wrist lock to go for the armbar, and it switches up to like, oh, he kicked out, but then he kicks out and he gets right into the big lock, and then it's just, it was fantastic. I have never heard so many. And if you guys noticed, you heard all the screaming. Who did the screaming come from? What part of the population screamed for every armbar and the headlock? How high pitched were those screams, guys? It was.
Yeah.
This is how you know that New Japan is back, is because the women are back. The Fujoshis are back into this stuff, man.
I heard Rambo screaming.
Yeah.
I'll admit I might have screamed a little bit, but all I can say is we're gripping, boys. It is what it is.
Yeah, the grip is got it. He's got the G1. He's challenging in October. Where do you guys think that challenge goes? Do you think he wins? Do you think that ultimately Tsuji keeps the title heading into Wrestle Kingdom? Where do you guys stand on this?
I'll be surprised if Tsuji drops before the Dome. And honestly, I think it's not even a sure thing Tsuji drops at the Dome. I think, Tsuji had his initial like table setting run, a relatively short world title run, like as is tradition in New Japan.
Absolutely.
And this is not that anymore. This is like, I'm a top guy. I'm gonna really take some time and prove that. And ultimately, I think Oiwa's probably going to lose in his first challenge, which is okay, because he's already super over and he's only going to get more over if he has a banger with Tsuji, which we know he will.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to win it. Unfortunately, though, I would be very happy if he did. But I'm also really enjoying Tsuji's run. And I mean, Tsuji's tournament, can't say enough good things about that, too. So he certainly deserves his accolades.
Tsuji's defending the title before then, right? Is it Goto he's defending against?
Yeah, Goto's the next challenge.
Uh-oh. Hey,
So if
what better way to promote
what
Street
I'm
Fighter
wondering
in
is-
Japan than putting your belt on Honda? I'm just saying, guys.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, I like Goto, but no thank you. The tables have turned. We're not doing that anymore.
It's already happened. He got his gold watch. We're good.
Yep, correct.
What I do wonder though is if he doesn't win at in the fall, what's going to be happening coming to the Dome though? I mean, Tsuji retains to then. What are the tea leaves looking like going into that for him, and then what's happening after?
I'm gonna give my little thing here before cutting you off, David.
Go right ahead.
This is my dream booking scenario. There's two guys who'd be acceptable for me if Tsuji wins and he calls out like who he wants to beat, and he has to beat him at the Dome. It's Tetsuya Naito and it's Kazuchika Okada. Those are two guys he can call out and beat, and he should beat. And especially it's going to be something that they put on on TV Asahi, and it's something that it's going to be big for them because last year was the table setting. This is like, okay, now this is like, these are our guys. And they did good numbers on their last show on TV Asahi with Dominion. So I think like as they're moving forward, as TV Asahi has become way more like confident in New Japan as a draw for television, I think they're also seeing Tsuji as that guy who they can rely on to reliably be a main event for them. And putting him against like a top name like a Naito or a Okada, that would be great in establishing him and the company as like, oh, these were the guys, this is the guy. But if I wanted to choose someone from like the current like lineup of people, I really, really, really want to see the Yuya match. And he has a claim because, there's always going to be a claim there with them, especially since he beat him in the semis. And
yeah, he beat him in the semi.
There's still a claim there, so I'm so hyped for this, man. I'm so hyped for this. What were you going to say, Naveth?
I would.
Oh, I was just wondering like I said, where they would go with that. Also, just wondering now that they're out of the G1, Tag League is next, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, we have Destruction Tour before that.
Yeah.
Because I know they were setting up for Claudio to come over, which honestly, if this sets up for Claudio to be in the G1 next year, I'm mad at that.
Yeah, because Shingo challenged Claudio for something. I think he's going to be at Destruction.
And yes, I'm very happy for that.
Yeah.
I would guess that the Claudio Shingo thing kind of plays into the main program that's circulating is Gabe versus Drilla, because obviously those are partners for each other. So I'm guessing that will culminate in some sort of involvement there.
Yeah, because that's the title match for the next show too, right? It's Gabe and Drilla for the global.
Yep. And that, I mean, they built that program through the entire tour, and they did that backstage segment. They did the preview tags on the semifinals and finals night, which were both quite good, I would say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a well-built program. I think Gabe, I know the new Jadine are not fans of him, but I got to say, I thought he did a great job in this tournament. He came in looking focused.
He played
his role as the heel outsider, invader.
Yeah, he was there to play the role of being a heel. Like, it wasn't like last year where he was fighting for everyone to love him. For like the last 2 years, this year he was like, "Fuck you, AEW, we're the best wrestler."
Right. He's not trying to be a cool heel, quote unquote. Yeah. He's trying to be an actual heel and the baby faces who beat him get overdoing it, and Drilla is about to do that.
Yeah,
and that's going to be a big thing because Drilla's ready to take a step forward for sure. He had an excellent tournament also.
Oh man, the women are shouting for him. Finally, they're into the beard. Absolutely, the Drilla Killer has gone so over as a finish because every time he picks people up, you hear the crowd gasp like it's happening. Just a good visual move. Sonata also had his return to this G1. And it was a return to form for Sonata. I gotta say that, like, the short match he had with Takeshita, and like he had a couple of really good matches here. I really liked the match with Tsuji, the match with Shingo, which was so many years in the making. Because if there was one guy who he should have defended against during his run, it should have been Shingo. Like that was one of the matches that he missed out on because he defended against everybody else that was in LIJ, but Shingo. But good for Sonata to come back, damaged as he is. If you guys watched that special he did with the New Japan Global, or if you guys watch the Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Dark Side of the Ring, and you see what happens when you get like an atrophied arm and how that can affect your work, it's really inspiring for him to come back as he has. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's physically wrecked. There's no question about it. You can see it. He just doesn't look the same, and he can't work the same. But he tries really hard. And I got to tell you, this is what I'll say about Sonata. Like, is he a top in-ring performer at this stage of his career? Absolutely not. Does he come out every single time with some crazy-ass entrance, with crazy gear? Does he actually put in an effort? And despite the fact that he's in the House of Torture, does he put on entertaining matches for the most part? Yes. Like, I have a lot more respect for him than some of the other low-level shitters that exist in this company.
Oh, yeah.
I will not put him in that category, no matter how physically broken down he is.
I'll put it to you like this: he clears House of Torture, he clears Seth Rollins, end of story.
Hey, that's a pretty good bar, man.
Turn for him, though.
I mean that. Well, actually, now I can't say he clears House of Torture because I mean Shun Skywalker did debut.
Oh
so
God, you guys know I love Dragongate. I've loved Dragongate for like the last 30 years since Torimon. So for the last couple months, Shun has been talking about, I'm going to heaven now. You guys are not going to have to see me anymore because I'm going to go to heaven. And, he's leaving Dragongate. And, we were kind of seeing this before like Evil left, right? When they had the Evil Produce show. And like, he's being brought in there, and then the United Japan shows where he was always in the main event for the Bill Multi-Man tags featuring all the top guys in all the companies. And I think with Shun, this is somebody who knows exactly what he's doing. Big character guy, big promo guy. So his character is he has psychic powers that he can link up to people and tell them what to do and get into their minds and change how they think and do mind control. So that's his gimmick. So basically he's a Power Rangers villain. So
I'll tell you, if he can make House of Torture not be repetitive, same one note over and over again type of nonsense, they can still be a heel unit. They can cheat. I don't care. All that's fine. I have no issue with that. But like, they just need some variety. They need something different. And like him coming in could be a breath of fresh air that makes it
if you guys
far easier to watch.
If you guys love cheating and and villainy and like lots of run-ins and fuck finishes, Shun Skywalker is your guy.
I've seen some of his matches. I enjoy his work. I'm just hoping that he somehow raises the level of House of Torture.
Yeah,
it's just the uncreative repetitiveness of House of Torture. Like, I don't care. Like, wrestling, people cheat in wrestling.
Yeah.
We all know this is not a real athletic competition. Like, you're not upsetting me when that happens, but when it's like the same exact thing over and over and ringing the bell, bringing out the push-up bar, like, it just gets old.
Yeah.
Like, do something different. Be creative, please.
I'm gonna have this discussion with Guts because he was all into this also. But we'll probably get into. I'll probably talk to him on the next time I record. But a lot of what he does also, he goes into a faction and he changes shit up, gets rid of people, and I'm wondering who he gets rid of and who he brings in here.
Sonata was teasing babyface this entire tour. There's no way he's staying in the House of Torture, and he loves jumping back. That's one of the things that he does the best. So
yeah.
I think you're going to see him in a babyface unit very short.
Yeah. I do wonder this one thing about after we come out the G1, and there's a lot of things that we're talking about here. You know, I did love the KO brothers as singles guys, and the other kind of guys that I also loved are Aaron Wolf and Bolton Oleg, and they've been tagging during this tour.
That tag team, I tell you what, if they won tag league, I wouldn't be upset. Send them against the Knockout Brothers. You know that would bang.
Yeah, I don't need Aaron Wolf Aaron to defend the Never Belt at the Dome. Him and Oleg can like be the guys with 4 belts and like just destroying the tag division. I will love that.
I would say I think here how I see his path going through this year. It looks like they're setting something up with Zack Sabre Jr. in the fall, which would be a fantastic opportunity for him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he drops a Never to Zach, and then that frees him up for a run in tag league with Bolton, which I think would be incredible. And then on the backside of that, if he has a Tokyo Dome tag team title match, that would be fantastic. That's a great spot for him. And then that gives Zach an opportunity to have a big match at the Dome with somebody, in an undercard supporting role also. Perhaps Oiwa? Who's to say?
Yeah, you talk about a student versus teacher match. That would be,
right.
Maybe they could bring in Ogawa to like watch from the commentary booth.
If they don't, they're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I think that it's been a long time since I could say this, but I'm really satiated and I'm very happy. And I thought they outkicked their coverage for this G1. And I think you could see it like in a lot of people's coverage of the G1 of how excited they are, of how people like even have like the grifters talking about, oh yeah, they really slowed the match down and really like focused on the basics. And then like, and then you also have
I think it's like resetting the table in terms of storytelling though. Like they made it a point to not leave the ring and tell the story specifically of the ring rather than going in and around. Because I mean, you're really not going to top that table bump that Newman took that almost broke him in half. Because I mean, Jesus Christ, you saw that bruise on his back afterwards.
Oh yeah.
But they went back down to like you said earlier, the basic storytelling, the stuff that you learn when you're just a New Japan guy, and they did it in a way that was masterful. I mean, they weren't going, all out in a way that like Okada or Omega could. They're doing it in a new way, and if that's going to be the way they're going to tell stories in that fashion, I want to see more of that. Yeah. And that's something new and exciting, and that's what they need, in my opinion, at least.
We got that stat from Chris Samsa. Shout out to you, Chris, about this one of being one of the longest G1 finals matches ever. I think it's in the top 10.
Second longest.
Second longest.
Only a couple seconds short of the longest one, which occurred during the pandemic, which is crazy. Yeah. The longest one ever. Hold on, I wrote down a note on this. The longest one ever was Ibushi versus White, I believe. I'll tell you in 1 second. Yes, no, sorry, it was Ibushi over Sonata in 2020, which is COVID fall G1, and it was like 35-22 or something like that, about 10 seconds longer than this one.
Yeah.
So just the fact that This one went slightly less time than that, but like this flew by compared to that. Like the difference being, of course, the crowd is engaged. They built the steady, organically escalating match, whereas the other one, just felt so stilted and artificial back in the COVID era.
I was rewatching this match today as in anticipation of this one, and when they do the 25-minute call, there's like a weird like pop for it, like the crowd pops for it, like, oh shit, this has been 25 minutes already, and then when they get 30 minutes, they get even louder. it's pretty sick actually.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I didn't notice the time calls until the 20-minute call. When that hit, I was like, "There's no way, no way it's been 20 minutes," because it's so captivating.
Yeah, you hear the crowd, they pop, and then like you see people in the front row, they
get like a bell pop for a time call. It's crazy.
The people are looking at each other like, really? Oh my god! And I'm like, oh yeah, it's not okay for me. Like I can feel like the 30 minutes and all that stuff, because like I'm sort of locked in and I'm seeing like what each guy is doing. And the thing about this is like when you're grappling as they do, that is some of the most exhausting kind of work you can do in pro wrestling. I know a lot of people think
a regular like high school or collegiate wrestling match is 6 minutes long, and when you're done that, your legs are jello. It's insane to go 30 minutes doing that shit.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
That's why like then when he got like the tap out and they're just laying down for like a good like 5 minutes, I'm like, yeah, yeah, you got, because as someone that used to like compete in like jiu-jitsu tournaments, and like sometimes like my strategy was like always to go to the bell, and like I was dead by like my third or fourth match in, and like these guys are like going like this is athletic. This is why athletes have like changed over the years, and this athletic style that they're doing is, it's less about like the high flying and more about like working at such a quick pace where, man, I hate giving this credit to him, but like it reminds me a lot of like how Dolph Ziggler used to work, where Dolph wasn't like a guy who would be flying off the top ropes. He'd just be a guy that'd be grinding and working and grinding and working, and like those matches that he would have with Danielson, where it's just like 30 minutes of them just wrestling. This is like the like kind of an evolution of that with two guys who are bigger than they are, and I think that Yuya is getting this other next level thing of, he has something that Tsuji doesn't have, and that's the babyface aura around him. Tsuji does not have the babyface aura. Tsuji is an anti-hero. What?
Oh yeah, he's a Naito-esque guy. He came up under that learning tree for a reason.
Yeah, because he's over. He's like a main guy, but he's like more in the same like lines of like a Naito or Stone Cold Steve Austin, where they're not like the good guy. They're like the top guy, similar to like whatever. And I think that Oiwa,
he's gonna be the mountain of the other guys.
Yeah, because Yuya and Oiwa like have like, they have this babyface aura to them, like where they can smile, whereas Tsuji smiles too, but his smile is like a devious smile, right? But
his is a smile that's harvested somebody's internal organs recently.
Yeah,
he's not bad. He's just mischievous.
Yeah,
which is what I would say about
there. And but like these guys, they like just feel like too. This is meat and potatoes. This is strong style. This is real strong style. And as someone that's followed this company, God, since 1993, and to see where they're at now, and I'm excited for the future, because like they tried to say that who were the real musketeers, but we're seeing other guys kind of step up to the level. And something that I see from Dragongate, from DDT, from Noah, is usually it's not just like 3 guys. It's usually like 6 guys that they have the big plans for. And if this is the reiwa generations, your Takeshita, Shun Skywalker, Tsuji, Oiwa, Uemura, Umino, Wolf, like Drilla. Drilla is not even 30 yet. Drilla is like 28. So like
Bolton,
and he's not going.
He's
anywhere.
A little bit older.
Yeah,
but he's part of that generation. He's part of that cohort.
Yeah, and like I'm also excited to see sort of Fujita get a graduation maybe the heavyweight, maybe he's doing something else because
he's not a big guy though. That's the only knock on him. Like, will he fill out to be a heavyweight? But if he doesn't, and he's just, make him the ace of the junior division. Like he's got that same technical prowess and the same kick-ass, top-notch in-ring performance that Oiwa does. He's very similar.
Yeah, because guys, you know who was one of the biggest faces of all time of New Japan Pro Wrestling? Tatsumi Fujinami.
Thunder Liger.
Jushin Liger, but it's Tatsumi Fujinami, right? Tatsumi Fujinami is only 5'6", and he believably beat Big Van. He believably fought guys like Big Van Vader, Chono, Hashimoto, because he had that fighting spirit and he had the technical ability to go in there and be believable against these giants. So his height doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is I wish he would be the junior ace. But if him calling out Aaron Wolf is him sort of transitioning into that, and you guys can see his chest getting bigger by the week, so maybe he's just been doing that on purpose. Also, another one of Zach's boys, but yeah, big squats guy. So I'm very excited for the future of New Japan. I'm very excited about this Reiwa generation. I'm very excited about where we're gonna go to on the road to Wrestle Kingdom and on this road to destruction. And for the first time ever, I'm like invested in World Tag League. I'm not sure why, but I am. I'm kind of excited for this GHB versus KOB. It's a match that's also calling to me like, oh, these are guys that I liked 20 years ago, facing sort of the mirror versions of themselves. Although like Oiwa is Yuto is sort of like the current modern day version of Makabe and Yano, as in like the troublemaker with blonde hair. So it's very interesting to me how that match is going to be, especially if Makabe does the job to Yuto. That's a very interesting program to me because I haven't thought about GBH for a long time. So yeah,
I like that whether it's a change in corporate ownership, whether it's Gato deciding he's no longer quiet quitting, whether it's reshuffling of the creative team and different voices gaining prominence. I don't know. I'm not back there, but all I know is this: something's changed, and it seems very clear now that the emphasis is on the older guys, putting the younger guys in position to lead this company forward, to do something new. We're out of this like multiple year-long holding pattern and just cursive, endless loops to the same thing over and over again. It seems to be done. I hope that this is not a mirage and we don't backslide. But based on what I'm seeing right now, it seems to be they're using the veterans to put these young guys in position to succeed. And the GBH versus Knockout Brothers seems to be a great example of that. So
yeah,
I'm very excited for the future here.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the tour and a little bit about departures. We had the retirement, quote unquote, retirement of Tiger Mask 4, although he's still working. If you know where to find him. We also recently had
a true cardie.
Yeah, we also had the retirement of Hiroshi Tenzan. They had that big moment with Iizuka, who, my God,
that was the manliest thing ever.
Iizuka,
first of all, that man is in great shape.
He's been retired for like 5 years, and he looks like that. He came back like that.
He's been wandering the spirit realm, apparently getting his steps in because he looks great.
God, man, I wish I looked like that, and I'm like 30 years younger than that dude. Holy shit. But
that was a great moment, and I'm not gonna lie, that popped me big time when he like came to his senses, quote unquote, and then immediately ran out to the ring and ripped the shirt off the announcer and kept running. I'm like, this is great. I love that guy.
Oh man, one of my fun memories is I went to a New Japan show in Korakuen, and it was that time period where I think Despy was holding him by a leash, and he came by me and like he pushed me out of the way. I was like, I love this so much. He literally felt like he had the aura of like a big dog, but not like the big dog, but like a big dog that's not a big dog. We're like a lion on a leash. That's what it felt like. he felt like he felt like an animal coming in there. And I'm like, you know, I'm a grown man. I've watched wrestling my whole life, but do I have fear for my life when this guy's around? Just he's so good, crazy guy. But you know, we also heard about the third member of Great Bash Heel, Hanma announced his retirement. I think around coming soon next year.
Yep.
As we're talking about all the old guys sort of stepping down and stepping back and like being used in a way to uplift the younger talent. I absolutely love this. I love this direction, and I love spending this time with you guys, man. On my time back here recording. So you know, I'm just gonna say thank you guys for coming on here. Nav and Ram, the Pawn brothers coming on here, giving me some really good content here. I just love talking to you guys, man.
Well, we appreciate the invitation. Always happy to be here.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything to push, if you wanted to push anything, because I know Nav makes his music, but he hasn't promoted it here yet.
Nothing yet, but I'm still trash. I'm working on it.
Yeah, you know, you could see both these guys on the Social Suplex Discord. You could see the kind of meals that Ram provides for the Sunday family meals that I'm so jealous that Nav gets to partake in from time to time.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Man.
Yep. Every Sunday, like clockwork, he's there.
So, you know, you guys could catch them on there. And, you know, always love to have you guys here. And, of course, as I say, as all time, because I'm quoting the great Mr. Cold Skull, see you next time.
Thanks, man.
All right.